Warning. Warning. You are about to enter the propaganda report.
That's right. You have entered the propaganda
with Brad
report. I am your
Binkley.
host, Brad Binkley.
Warning. Warning. You are
What
about
did
to
we learn the
enter
other day?
the propaganda report with Brad Binkley.
Where are those
Warning. Warning.
sound effects?
You are about to enter the propaganda report.
There we go. All right, we'll play with that later. This is Propaganda Report. I am your host, Brad Binkley. Force Mommy, thank you for joining in the chats, and everybody else who's listening. Let us know if there's any problems going on with the audio so we can adjust on the fly. This is part 2 of the recap of the Libertarian National Convention that I attended and many others attended. And as you guys know, thank you, Force Mommy. Always crazy things can happen at the Libertarian Convention. And we did leave before some of the crazy things happened. Some of the conflict happened with, I believe it's the LP New Hampshire. They got thrown out. Is that right? Is that the one that got thrown out? Well, we had a little interaction with Starchild. And by we, what I mean is my friend Kim. Kim, welcome to the show. We can hear you. You can speak, sing hello. Does her mic sound good?
Hello. How's my mic? Can you hear me?
We're dressed like we were on for a few hours at the convention, because part of the whole thing was that you need to do business casual. So we were like, why don't we dress like weirdos? And that was fun for us, but that was a big conflict for others. And it ended up being a subject of a Wall Street Journal article, because it was basically, which I thought it was a stunt for the people in control of it to provoke the left-wing version of the party, because I think that was the Mises Caucus was in control, the person who was the chair. And it was just a provocative thing, and then it became an argument over how it's transphobic, and then it became a Wall Street Journal article, which is good for them to get attention on it, but then it became kind of a mockery of the internet, and people are still talking about it. And what was your thoughts, just whether that was something, because there was a lot of different attire, and I know that you noticed some specific dress in the business room when we walked in. What were your initial thoughts when it comes to the clothing and just your first impressions of your experience with the Libertarian Party?
Well, as far as the clothing goes, I thought it was kind of funny how some people were dressed like they were going to church. Other people were dressed like they were about to go to the club. And then some people were dressed as if they were teenage punks trying to rebel against conformity, just conforming to the non-conformists. And so it was just a lot of variety of dressing. Everybody was dressed differently. Lots of colorful personalities. Yeah, I mean, I wanted to go because I've never been to anything like this before, and I like experiencing new and different things. And I was curious to ask people about what freedom means to them, because that's something I think about a lot. So that's why I went. It was interesting. It was entertaining.
What did you learn about what freedom? We'll play some of the clips later, but initial impressions, what were your thoughts on what freedom is to libertarians?
So I asked that question a lot. What does liberty mean to you? What does freedom mean to you? And a lot of the answers were something negative. People would answer with what freedom is not. Basically, freedom is not being controlled by the government. Freedom is not coercion. Freedom is not being restricted. So they would answer it with a negative, as opposed to what freedom is for. So I was curious to ask, okay, well, I understand you think freedom is not being oppressed or not being controlled or not being regulated. So what is freedom for, as opposed to what is it against? And I think about that a lot, because I think about it from like a philosophical standpoint. External freedom is one thing, but internal freedom is something different. So when I ask those questions, I'm more curious about how can we find freedom internally through our existence within the conscious mind. Because we might be free, we might live in a free society, so to speak, with like limited government, low taxes, and we have the freedom to do what we want with our bodies. We might have those freedoms, but I like to ask even deeper questions like, are we really exercising our free will if we're just responding to instinct, impulse, desire, addiction, or avoiding fear? I question if that's really freedom. And it seems like a lot of people there were addicted to substances, and many would argue that that's not freedom. So it seems like a lot of people there were...
they were voting on the business stuff, and not all of them, but some of them, very obviously, they were either drinking because there was a bar at like 10 a.m. Or they were on some sort of gummy. And at one point we had talked about, should you be allowed to vote if you're blasted on some sort of a cocktail or something? And screaming cocksucker or whatever people were screaming at them. It was hard to even tell what was going on.
Yeah. I mean, if your choices are based on a chemical addiction, are those really your free choices? Are you free if you're addicted to a substance and are you actually thinking clearly? So I don't know. The whole thing, honestly, it kind of felt like absurd performance theater, like high school theater. It was like walking into like a high school theater show.
So that's interesting because Chase Oliver, who when I first met, after I spoke with him briefly before I was going to moderate the primary here in Georgia in 2024, the first question I had for him was, were you a musical theater kid in high school? Yeah. Because he very obviously was.
Yeah.
And he told me that he was a theater kid. And he gave a speech. We weren't there, but he gave a speech on Monday where he talked about, he was very upset that the left-leaning portion of the Libertarian Party were being called theater kids. And he was pointing out how the right-leaning version, that the Kaufman and those who had just gotten kicked out, were the theater kids. I might be getting some of this wrong because I wasn't there, but this is what I gathered talking to Kat. Theater kids accusing other theater kids of being theater kids. They're all theater kids, and that's what politics has become, is nothing but theater.
Yeah, I mean, I hate to break it to them, but all the world's a stage. No matter what your profession is, there's some element of performance, there's some element of theater. That's why I always encourage kids. I teach kids theater at this place called Galaxy Music and Arts, by the way. Great studio if you have... I teach autistic kids emotion and how to act. But that's a useful skill.
You have a lot of business you could have gathered at the Libertarian Convention.
Yeah, but I mean, theater is such a useful skill because we use that in every profession. And there's no shame in theater. It's like, why is being a theater kid, is that like an insult? I take that as a compliment. Like, I'm very grateful I was a theater kid. It shaped my my perspective. It helped. Anytime I do a play, I feel like it opens my mind to a different perspective. I can see life through a different lens, and I enjoy that. So I'm proud to be a theater kid, and if you are, you should be proud too. I think the right and the left should embrace the theater kid. And that's the thing, it's like, why pretend that it's not, I don't know. Like, why be so serious about it? It's like they were trying to be serious, and that's why it was funny. Because you have like such a divided party on many issues. I feel like the only thing they agree on is personal freedom, and then they disagree on pretty much everything. Low taxes, I guess they all agree on that. And then, but they
guns,
yeah. But I don't know. The whole thing, it just felt kind of like theater, like an absurd and not very well put together theater.
No, we were in the back saying
Yeah.
if they just would spend money on the right things, they could be paying us to teach them how to be better theater kids.
They weren't very good performers. They were pretty awkward.
Yeah.
Not very charismatic, kind of boring. Like,
Yeah.
Well, not kind of boring, like
Very, very boring.
very, very boring. And it wasn't fun. Like nothing about like that whole game show. Are You Smart? I thought that was they're trying to make it fun, but
That was interesting. So I had never seen that before, and I didn't. I think it's, I guess, designed for online because we were in the room. It was the room was way too big.
yeah.
It was huge, and so there were actually a good number of people there. If they had a smaller room, the sound could have popped, people reacting, but you got people sitting just like 100 yards away, it felt like. And then the interactions were with the screen and with the online people as opposed to the people in the crowd. And maybe that's just a product of the circumstance. I'm not that familiar with it, but yeah, I wanted to pump some energy into that room, and
Yeah.
we tried a little bit. I don't know if people got mad at us or if they appreciated it, but yeah, it was like an online show that was done live, and so maybe the people watching online, which a lot of people were watching, maybe they enjoyed it, but in the room it felt a little disconnected, and the premise of it. And I understand if the idea is to promote the ideas of libertarianism, to the setup being where basically everybody agrees, but they just express their agreement differently. And the points are done like, whose line is it anyway? It wasn't like a question thing where people get things right or wrong. So yeah, I didn't understand what it was until then. And Joe Jorgensen almost felt like they were placating her a little bit, the way they were trying to get her some points.
Yeah.
Not that she didn't deserve any, but you
Yeah.
spoke with her.
I did. I asked some kind of inflammatory questions deliberately just to see what kind of response. I like doing that stuff because I feel like you get an authentic response. When you ask a question that might be a little offensive or might rub somebody just a little the wrong way, I feel like you get a glimpse into an authentic reaction as opposed to just theater. So that's why I like doing those kind of slightly poking fun, probing sort of questions. And I did that with her. I don't know if you want to.
We're gonna we're gonna go to that right now. Actually, I'm gonna find that clip, and then we're gonna get to the Star Lord or whatever he calls himself here in a second.
But yeah, it seemed to me like a lot of the people there, they feel like they want to feel like they're doing something important, and they want to feel like they belong to a community of sorts, and I just question like what actually got accomplished.
Yeah, we did ask a few people what they had gotten accomplished. What ultimately the outcome of it was. I know they kicked out, or that's not the correct word. They separated. They broke things off with the Libertarian Party in New Hampshire, and some of you guys in the chats can explain that better than I can. I'm not sure the exact, but I think that's probably what they wanted, because the guy who ran, this Kaufman guy, he does PR stunts all the time. He's the right-leaning theater kid. And that, like, I think his goal was to get kicked out because he was running for the chair for the purpose of dissolving the whole party because of like the division. It's so different on the right and the left. It's like so different.
Yeah. Yeah. And so if the goal was to try to unite them and to focus on their commonalities, I mean, I didn't see any of that. And then the whole like fight breaking out, I guess the day that we left, I heard that some lady got slapped.
Yeah.
I mean,
she took some papers, from my understanding, off of the LP New Hampshire table, and somebody slapped her, and then the police were called, and then they were like, we have video of what happened. She was stealing from us.
Yeah, it's an interesting rule, the whole nap thing, the non-aggressive. I mean,
Right. What is the definition of that has always been my question.
It's the non-aggressive principle, right?
Non-aggression principle.
Yeah, non-aggression principle. So the question is like, okay, what counts as aggression? Psychological coercion, does that count as aggression? But saying like, okay, well, if somebody tries to steal your property, you have the right to retaliate. So
right.
that's basically saying two wrongs make a right.
So,
you can
verbally,
just be vindictive.
Yeah.
Like they're basically that. Like what that rule.
Would you have slapped her?
So that rule is basically saying it's okay to be vindictive. Like if somebody like tries to take your property, it's okay to be violent.
Yeah. Well, so that's the way. What would you do if somebody took your property? Well, so you're assuming aggression is physical.
No, I mean, I'm not assuming that. I'm asking. I'm like, what counts as aggression? Because somebody could easily argue that aggression is not just physical, that aggression is psychological coercion, manipulation.
Yeah. And that gives you the right to react, but in what ways? What are the definitions?
According to the principle, the NAP, it gives you the right, like if somebody is like taking your property, it gives you the right to like physically assault them.
I've always been confused by that because that's been one of the staples of the Libertarian Party. And I like libertarians more than the other parties. There's no doubt about that. But this is one thing because it's when people kind of hold themselves to these high principles, and that is one of the main ones.
It sounds like a really high principle. Like what kind of principle is that? I'm sorry, it just sounds kind of stupid.
So you're not convinced of it? Well, to me, it's like a war
dumb.
where
It sounds dumb.
Where every war is a war of self-defense, and that's like.
Yeah, and fighting for peace is like fucking for celibacy. It's total hypocrisy is what that is. And that's the thing about everything that I heard these people say. Oh, not everything. I don't want to say everything. A lot of the things they were saying, they were contradicting themselves. There was so much hypocrisy. It's just mind-blowing. Like I feel like a lot of the people I spoke with your friends as an exception, a lot of people I spoke with they had delusions of grandeur. Like they thought they were doing something really important by being there when really they're just not making any sense. Like none of those rules make any sense to me.
Yeah. It's
like the Roberts rules.
The Roberts rules of order is what runs the room in there. And it kind of holds. So there's benefits to it, I guess, because maybe you get stuff done. So it's like a weapon to be able to know Robert's Rules of Order better than other people. And you can slow things up and you can get your things passed. We talked to a couple people who told us about how they changed the rules to where you have to have 20 people instead of 2 people to support a new appeal to something. It was all real convoluted, some of it.
Yeah.
And it's like, how do you get anything done? The thing about the air conditioning, they told us it was a joke. There was like a 10, 15 minute argument about should they turn the air up? And if turning the air up, will it make the heat go up? It was very confusing.
I didn't understand why they were overcomplicating something so silly about they really have to have a whole formal process and vote on the AC. Like the AC is the talking point. That's how they want to make use of their time.
Yeah.
Like all these people are gathered to try to do something productive and they want to talk about something petty like the AC or like what people are wearing. Like which I guess to some people that's not petty. But it's just, the whole AC thing, it seemed ridiculous.
And the people we talked to, they perceive that to be a good meeting. Like they were getting stuff done. One of the interviews.
What did they get done? What did they accomplish?
I'll play it in a second. The guy I talked to, he said, this is one of the good ones, one of the good meetings we had.
Oh, I can't imagine if that was one of the good ones.
There's Zach. Procedural warfare. Zach is a libertarian. He wasn't able to go this time. He has a new baby he was taking care of. But Jo Jorgensen, who announced she's going to run again. Let's look and see your interview.
Okay.
With Jo Jorgensen, who I got to say, I don't know much about her other than I wasn't a huge fan, and she's a woman. And she doesn't like when you point out that she's a woman. And she
you can't tell she's a woman, you guys.
Yeah, right.
She's not a man. She was the only woman up there. And we matched. We had matching
He has
outfits.
matching clothes.
So I feel like she's a kindred spirit.
She was
We're
sitting.
both women. We're
Right.
both wearing the same outfit.
So Kim kept asking her about being a woman when that's like Joe Jorgensen's like trying to be like, that shouldn't be the point. Being a woman is funny.
Poking fun and probing for fun is my favorite or my forte. Spirit of the age. Yeah, I feel like that helps you kind of get a little deeper into, you get more insight into the psyche of a person when you kind of catch them off guard.
Playing those games.
You catch them off
Just
guard.
like a woman playing those games. Here is woman interviewing woman. Oh, wait, put your headphones on.
Oh, yeah. I love listening to myself.
You got to plug it in. You knocked it out.
Oh. All right. Here we go.
Can you hear me on the mic?
Oh, yeah. I can hear you really loud.
Can you hear yourself?
It's fine. I don't need eardrums. Eardrums are overrated. I haven't been to one of these things before, and I'm not a member of the party, but after seeing you up there with all those powerful men, you were like the only woman up there. How did it feel?
I'm usually the only woman. It doesn't matter what it is.
I was getting so emotional. I'm like kind of tearing up. Yeah. So I just wanted to thank you for all that you do and for inspiring me to be someone like you.
Well, thanks so much. It's sad that we still look at the world that way, men and women, as opposed to all being one group.
Yeah.
I thought that was really funny that she injected
It's
that.
sad. I wanted to ask, well, what's sad about that? Like, why is that sad?
I think she processes things as sad. She just seemed a very down soul to me.
I mean, does she wish that we were all like
Same gender?
The same gender?
We were all hermaphrodites.
We were all non-binary hermaphrodites.
To follow up with her.
How
on
would we
that.
reproduce if we were all men or all women?
We can bang ourselves for both.
Yeah, I mean, isn't it okay to acknowledge like when a woman's a woman and a man's a man? Is that like sad to acknowledge that?
She feels that you shouldn't.
I made her sad. I wasn't trying to make
I don't
her
think
sad.
you made her sad. I think she's been sad.
I couldn't help but notice you were the only woman up there.
I actually did think about that once we started.
But it didn't phase you at first. Like,
I'm used to it.
She was up there with Chase Oliver, who was high on gummies, and she was up there with, who was it? I think it was Lars, and she was up there with the guy the cowboy, the ranch guy,
yeah.
the Bundy ranch guy who walked
Yeah.
out in front of the car. We almost hit him when we were pulling in, and it was it Lars? I don't think it was Lars. It was Chase and Bundy and who was the other guy? I can't remember who the other guy was, but they all were kind of. She was very quiet, and she was the best dressed. Other than that green thing, which is probably full of bourbon. You were best dressed.
You were definitely the best dressed.
They all looked like slobs.
That wasn't tough to do.
Yeah. What are you looking forward to doing next? Like, what's next for you?
Going to the gala, I don't even know what time it starts. I got to download my ticket.
There's a gala tonight.
Right? Isn't it tonight?
Oh,
I think
I'm
it
not
is.
sure.
Yeah, I think there's a gala, and I've got a ticket, and I've got to download it.
How do you get a ticket?
Somebody got it for me on the
nice.
Libertarian website. Yeah.
We'll go with you. We'll be your guest.
Can we be your date?
I'm already somebody's guest.
we'll be your +2.
Yeah, +2. Except I'm already the +1.
How tense she is.
So if you had any advice for young women who want to get involved, what would you give them? What would you say?
Well, I don't know that my advice to women would be any different than.
Kim is messing with her right now for those watching. She's very subtle at it, but she's messing with her about the woman thing.
Yeah, I could tell she didn't like being called out for being the only woman, so I kept bringing attention to the fact that she was the only woman.
Yeah.
Just to kind of, yeah.
Look at her looking at you. She looks like she wants to
She
kill
looks
you.
like
Okay.
I'm scaring
She gets
her.
mad at you when she says you asked her one more question at the end. Here.
Men, I would say, first of all, if you want to go into politics, you probably shouldn't. You should only go into politics if you don't like politics. On the campaign trail, I had a lot of reporters asking me, so when did you first become interested in politics, like you were student government or whatever? And I always say, I'm still not interested in politics. I do it as self-defense.
Last question. What does freedom mean to you
Self-defense.
in 3 words?
Making your own choices.
Making your own
Wait,
choice.
was that 4 words?
That's 4. That counts.
Make your choice.
Yeah, that's
Make
a
your
different
choice.
thing, though.
Yes. Freedom.
So did you have gummies before, like Chase was talking about?
No.
I didn't think so.
No.
How many times do you do gummies?
I've never had a gummy.
What about shrooms?
No, I've never had shrooms. So, and that's what libertarianism is all about. And, you know, earlier on, and by the way, you already said last question, but that's fine. Earlier on, you know, the libertarian message was it's my body and I should be able to do what I want, which does not win over people. And I'm kind of the right person to spread it because somehow I think I'm the only person who went through high school and college in the 70s.
That's just a weird thing to say. First of all, she's the only one to spread it. She's the only one that doesn't want to be in politics but wants to be in politics, and she's the only one that went to high school and college in the 70s.
The only one.
She was by herself the entire time.
The only one that went to high school. and
She was doing no drugs, but she assumes here.
She's saying she's the only one who didn't do drugs. I think that's
Right,
what
and she
she's getting
assumes
at.
that we're on drugs.
Never
Yeah.
having even tried marijuana.
Oh, wow.
My drug of choice is bourbon.
Yeah.
And
All
it's
right.
not so much that it's my body. It's
cane
like
right
I
there.
shouldn't be
Probably
making the
drinking
decision
bourbon.
for you. You know,
Right.
my drug is legal. Your drug should be legal too.
Like she's pointing at me. I'm not on marijuana.
She probably just.
That makes sense. Well, thank you so
Thank
much
you
for
so much
chatting
for your
with
time.
us.
I don't know how old she
Enjoy
is,
the rest
but-
of your night. Enjoy the gala. Thank you for inspiring me. I feel empowered. Yes.
Yeah. Thank
Thank
you very
you.
much.
Thank
Maybe we'll see you at the gala. Is that true? Do you feel? Yeah, you're filming my junk there. Did you feel empowered by her? She sounds like fun. She called you fake news. Yeah.
No.
And she's going to run again. She made a big announcement that she's going to run again. She was the candidate that got like national attention. You can take this off. Am I too loud?
No, you're fine. Yeah, I didn't really feel empowered after talking to her. I felt kind of indifferent. I didn't really feel a strong reaction from her. I felt like she just said a whole lot of nothing. Other than the fact that like, oh, I don't think we should ever call out a woman. I guess she just wants to get rid of the term woman and man, and we should all just be man, woman, woman, man.
And then woman, man.
Non-binary. We should all just be non-binary.
She doesn't even realize that is what it sounds like when she says it. Zach, can you remind me? You probably know. What was it? Didn't she work with Hillary Clinton before? I know she was a big masker. She was a big pro. Take your shot. Put on the mask. You know, I don't know what her position is on that now. I'm curious as to why she made a big announcement yesterday that she's going to be running. I don't know what support is going to be behind her, but also who is going to run as Libertarian. I know Thomas Massey, someone to get a lot of people said they like Thomas Massey that we spoke to. And I don't know how that's going to play out. I know we talked to the guy with the baby who liked Thomas Massey.
Yeah, he was cool. He actually had some more interesting. He had a more thoughtful response than some. Oh gosh,
Is that
than some of the
weird?
other
Yeah.
people I talked to. The guy with the baby had more of a thoughtful response.
Okay, so
That one was kind of interesting.
let's take a little bit of a detour, and then we'll get back to the philosophical stuff and the libertarian stuff. We had an interaction with Starchild. Starchild is a major libertarian figure. They attract figures who are performance artists. He used to have a Vermin Supreme. I don't know if you're familiar with him. He would wear boots on his head and run for president all the time. Our mics are fading, so that's why we're grabbing them. We don't. They're trying to run away from us, so we apologize for that. But we had an interaction with Starchild. Starchild is a guy who got kicked out of the 2024 convention. He got thrown out. He caused a big scene, and I didn't know about him before then, but I don't know, is he a sex worker or some? You look at his Wikipedia, there's a lot of weird stuff about sex work. We saw him on the first day in the business room. He was wearing like a thong.
Yeah, he was definitely wearing a thong. I was like, all right, I guess he's trying to get some sex work.
Yeah, he was looking for some sex work.
Looking
I
for
don't know
some
if
sex work. I guess he's just trying to make a statement about freedom
Yeah. What did you feel about that statement? Did you appreciate it?
You know, I didn't think it was hot. I didn't love it. I didn't really. I didn't love it.
It's like he was shopping in the children's section.
Yeah, I think wasn't he wearing like a cheetah? Wasn't it like a cheetah thong? It was leopard print, maybe.
Well, there's some leopard print
some
involved.
animal print, something.
Yeah, it was stylish.
I mean, I would have if I had actually gotten to ask him some questions. I would have asked him, what is the point of wearing this? Are you trying to just, show that like you should be able to dress however you want? Which I kind of agree with. I feel like we should, have that freedom.
He's taking it to the extreme.
Yeah.
Well, he was one of the reasons they presented that,
Yeah.
Dress code thing. And are you okay with the microphone there?
Mm-hmm.
Here's what he looked like, because we did try to interview him.
Yes.
Right before I think this was the Saturday night, we saw him outside of, there was a thing that Afro Man was supposed to go to where it was about
And
people.
he never showed up.
Yeah, he didn't show up.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, I don't know what people said, but I don't know why he didn't show up. He showed up to the last one.
It's probably because he heard the AC was too cold.
Yeah, he found out about that. Yeah, black people don't like it when it's too cold. You were cold. I was warm.
I was very cold.
We were on
the whole
opposite sides of
time.
that
Yeah.
war right there. And you had drawn, by the way, I wish we had that. You had drawn a picture because people, when they voted, they had to raise these yellow flags to vote. And we didn't have a yellow flag because we were media. And so Kim drew a yellow flag of liberty.
Right.
And she drew a Statue of Liberty
Yeah.
with a penis.
Yeah. Well, with both.
Well, it had testicles.
Right.
But the testicles were above the penis.
I mean, everyone else had a token, so I figured.
I don't know what kind of people you've dated. Had the reverse.
I just feel like when life gives you lemons, you make lemonade. So I had a piece of paper and a pen. I didn't have a token, so why not create one?
Yeah.
When life doesn't give you what you want, you create what you want. I created a token and I drew something that I thought both sides of the Libertarian Party, all sides of the Libertarian Party could appreciate. It's a picture of the Statue of Liberty. All the genders are represented. All the sexes are represented. So I don't know what.
Yeah, and you showed it to people.
Yeah.
Too, and nobody looked at it
nobody
close
cared.
enough to realize what you were showing them.
Right. Yeah. I was holding it up and voting.
I'm surprised we didn't get kicked out because they kicked out other people for that. There was a guy who he brought in a chair that reclined all the way back. He was like asleep, and he's just like, he's throwing his thing up half asleep. It was ridiculous. They were shouting shame, shame, shame at one point. We don't know why, but nevertheless, wait, yeah, there we go. So here's the Starchild incident, and we met him outside, and all we wanted to do was ask him questions. Okay.
Yeah. He seemed very distrustful of
me.
Yeah.
He wanted to know where I was from, and I told him I'm the propaganda report, and I told him I was familiar with what happened to him in 2024, and he said some things about the media doesn't tell the truth, and I agreed with him, and I told him what I was being honest. I wanted to talk to him. I wasn't trying to set him up or do anything.
Right.
Little did we know, he was setting us up.
So it seemed like we were being dragged along.
Lured,
literally.
perhaps.
Yeah. Possibly lured.
Because you'll notice in this video, and you'll see why when you hear the clip, a lot of chairs in this video to sit down in and do an interview.
Yeah, because we asked him, would you like to chat? And he was like, sure. Who are you? And then you said who you were. He was like, okay, let's go find this party, and we can find somewhere to sit at the party.
Well, he said, let's find a place to sit first.
Before he even mentioned the party.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's find a place to sit
We passed
first.
numerous places to sit.
And then he was like, well, let's go to the party, and then we can do it there.
And here he is in a tube top
Yeah.
with, looks like he's got a breast. All right, we're rolling.
All right, well, I'm here with, what's your name? Starchild.
The mic had gone out at that point, battery.
What is the highlight of the convention this year to you?
That's a good question. Well, it's not over yet.
Look at his nipples. He's on the cold side.
Yeah, I'm faking a southern accent. Embracing my roots.
What does freedom mean to you?
We were from the Renaissance, and then we were rednecks.
Ability to do what you want, as long as you're not initiating force and thought against others, people respecting that right.
And you were just telling me that you actually got like kicked out of the convention last year.
Not
For
kicked
doing
out of
what?
not kicked out of the convention.
2024, yeah.
Trump,
Trump speech.
Trump's
the
speech.
2024 Libertarian Party convention, and a lot of us didn't want him invited there to begin with, and
So that's his outfit, by the way.
Cute.
rival candidate in the party and all that. And I protested that, and that was what eventually transpired. Let's wait though and talk when we're sitting down. It'd be better because
Okay. All right. So he wants to sit down.
I want to go to the round.
Wants to wait and
Where,
sit
so
down.
where you heading? There's a bunch of seats up there for the hotel. You staying in the hotel?
Yeah, it's the 26th.
Great shot.
Okay, yes, yeah, I took some of the video out because it was focused on ass.
There's some seating up there.
So we're passing chairs, by the way. This is what he did. He first said, "Let's wait and talk till we find some chairs to sit in."
We've gotten lost a few times too. For us though, that's where the hotel we're staying in.
So we're
It has
walking
a
through
little,
the lobby.
ramp that crosses it.
At this point, I think he's trying to get us to be his documentarian
Yeah.
I call it a ramp. Okay.
I call it a bridge.
or victims.
I'm calling it a bridge. Oh wait, this is.
Now we're
He was trying to run the show.
we're on fire.
No, I didn't get too insig. I hit
Trolling energy.
What?
So we got into an elevator, and we go into an elevator, and he's trying to take us up to this 26th floor, which he doesn't not have access to.
Right.
And there was other people in there who knew who he was. And at one point, he's kind of arguing with them. And they got out of the elevator, and they looked at me. I don't know if you saw this, but they looked at me, and they said, "Run."
Yeah.
I mean, there's nowhere to run. We're in an elevator.
Right.
But we knew what we weren't, we knew what was going on. We just wanted to explore where this went.
Yeah.
But he was trying to get access to this penthouse that he did not have access to. And it seemed at first like the people there didn't want him to have access to. And then he put on a little scheme to get access to.
Where am I going to?
Would you just get numbers fast?
I see it too.
Let's hit.
Trying trickery and deception.
Yeah, we have
To
the
get
phone, we have the
access to
phone
it.
call.
I hit one and then
You documented.
Hey,
That's a weird voice in there. Not voice for. This is level 2. So there's another set.
This is the camera angles are weird because I'm holding it down by my hand. But so this is Starchild arguing with people. He's done this before.
Yeah. He's a little aggressive
He is aggressive.
with the people, as if he's entitled. He's very, very entitled.
Yes.
He thinks he's a star
He's
child.
Starchild.
So he needs to get up to the
Absolutely.
26th floor.
and damn
so
it
he
if he
can get
didn't.
wasted and do whatever weird shenanigans go on in this eyes wide shut.
It was weird. It was
Illuminati,
really
like-
weird. And here he is. So what he did is there's this restaurant at the bottom floor. He went over to he went to use the landline at the restaurant.
Yeah, what I thought was interesting though is you were about to give up. You were like, let's just go. This is weird. And we started walking away, and he was like, oh, wait, come back over here.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
about to talk to them on this landline. Film me talking to them on this land. Like he
Yeah,
wanted
yeah.
the spotlight on
Yep.
him. He wanted to show off how he could manipulate this situation. And so we came back. He was like, oh yes, film me talking. I want this on camera. So we went back and we filmed him manipulating the situation.
And here he is on the phone.
everyone just wants to
Turn this over. So you made a few comments.
They're making it really hard. And
The
all I
mic
do is
battery died there. That's why the audio sucks.
Pretending to be on the side, like
magic.
fighting for but justice.
It was because we can get up to.
Can they do it remotely? They're taking it remotely, or they're coming over here?
Magical power.
So he doesn't have access to this penthouse. What he did was call from this phone, and he also called from a cell phone. And I think he pretended to be someone in the penthouse.
What did he say?
We're
because the person came over and bitched at him,
Yeah,
but then
to
let us
say
up.
not call.
Yeah.
You're
Look, there's his ass right there.
That's
If you really
great.
want to get a good shot of
Great
his ass.
shot.
And then, so we go up there. And here's what happened when we got up there. Let's take this back a little bit. This was the penthouse.
Oh, you actually filmed some of this?
No, I blacked it out because it was focused on it was on your backside. And so I blacked it out.
Well, I mean, that's all the reason not to black it out.
But they did scream at him when he walked in.
I'd like to be darker, but yeah, you might be a little darker.
Great shots.
There's a glitch in the matrix because goddamn it, we made it.
There he is, right in Starchild's pussy.
The magical floor. The magical land. 26th floor. Took so much to get there.
And
Took lots of magic tricks.
Pine cones.
You blocked me.
Starchild is welcome. This is we are going to
so they're slapping Starchild high fives. It's about to be. And so you see it's nothing but white guys.
Yeah, so we go in and everyone's giving him a high five. Like, yeah, Starchild.
He's a hero.
And so we're the two outsiders.
There's 40 white dudes between 45 and 60. And there's like 3 white women between 50 and 65.
Yeah.
And we got out of there.
And you were like, let's get the fuck
Yeah,
out of
because
here
this
before
was
we get
this was
raped.
something. Yeah, we were gonna get raped. There's something that was
Not
we did
necessarily.
not. We're just being facetious, but it was a little gross.
It was a weird vibe. I must say that. I don't want to presume the worst.
He definitely lured us up there.
I don't want to be presumptuous and just assume that they were
Dear
gonna
God.
rape us. But
They
I
wouldn't have raped
I
us
wouldn't be
because they're not
shocked.
as strong. They're weak, but they might have tried.
I mean, I could have taken him out.
Yeah,
but,
the thing was that it was the I didn't realize it, but it was a penthouse for the far left progressive leaning part of the party.
Mm-hmm.
And when the guy who won chair, I don't know if you saw, but this guy who won chair, he got arrested for something. I can't remember what it was. Force Woman, you might know what it was. Kat knew what it was yesterday. But he got arrested for like armed robbery or something like that. But there's a photo of him at one of the conventions with a shirt on that says, "This is the only shirt I have that doesn't have cum on it." And he's kind of an icky individual. Yeah. And he's giving a speech after he won. And I was watching the speech on X, and I realized it was in that room.
oh, that same room.
Yeah,
Oh, so that's like a famous room.
that's the
we
room.
got to step inside the room. I'm disappointed he wasn't wearing that same shirt though. The only shirt that doesn't have cum stains on it.
Wait, yeah,
I
maybe.
wish I could have seen that in person. Wish I could have touched it.
Yeah, it would have been
know?
very stiff.
Yeah, I washed my hands religiously.
Yeah,
After
absolutely.
we got out of that room, I wish I had brought sage with me. I wanted to sage myself. Just like icky vibes. Icky vibes. You
It was
know, just a
disgusting.
vibe.
And so that's like part of the reason people have a problem with the Libertarian Party is that those vibes that we experience. Because we experience the other vibes, cool people who are resourceful and they're not trying to do stunts all the time. Jake and Zane and all those guys. Mm-hmm. And these couldn't be more opposite types of people.
Yeah, it seems like they just want to have a big orgy. It seems like they're in the same headspace as like an angsty teenager. They equate freedom with rebellion,
Yeah.
and chaos and orgies.
They're like 50 years old.
Yeah, they equate freedom in a different way than the other side of the libertarian, I think.
So what would you say? We can get back to some of the clips in a second, but you have some philosophical thoughts on which we touched on a minute ago, on freedom and the Libertarian Party. Politics is philosophy. Republican, Democrat, Libertarianism. What are your thoughts on, I don't know, just on those?
Yeah, I mean, it seems like progressives often feel like they're fighting for freedom from oppression. Democrats often feel like they're they're opposing control and they're opposing a centralized state. Republicans feel like they're opposing, they're opposing chaos and they're opposing disorder. Republicans want to cling to tradition, and so it seems like it's a fight against something as opposed to for something. And that's what I find interesting when I ask these types of questions. Like I was saying before, people often respond with what they're against as opposed to what they're for. So I like to wonder, where does true freedom really lie? Does freedom just mean freedom to express yourself, or does freedom mean self-mastery? Because if all of our choices are just based out of, biology, trauma, upbringing, cultural conditionings, propaganda, are we really free if we're just responding mindlessly to our biological drives?
Right.
And our addictions, and are we really free? So I like to think of freedom in a sense, people were talking about these types of ideas of freedom long before democracy was even a term. And, the ancient philosophers were asking these questions. How do we find freedom? And does freedom really exist? And there's two different schools of thought. Some people are determinists. Some people think that every thought we have, we actually don't really have control over our thoughts, that they're just a result of our biology, neuroscience, and chemical compounds, and
So what does that mean, though?
Causation.
So what does that mean for us then,
So-
actionably?
Yeah, so again, there's two schools of thought. So determinists believe that all of our choices are predetermined based on causation, based on a series of events that happened before. And then there's another school of thought that believes that we do have the power to consciously control our thoughts and consciously control our choices and our actions. Compatibilists kind of believe that free will doesn't exist. However, we can find a sense of freedom within determinism. So compatibilism, to me, makes the most sense. There's no way to prove that free will exists, but sometimes it feels like it does. So I'm more of a compatibilist, to answer your question. Philosophically speaking, I'm more of a compatibilist.
Yeah. You can bend that up if it's... Yeah, like I said, our mics are acting a little wonky. But so compatibilism is a combination of determinism and... say that last part again. I want to make sure.
So compatibilists believe that free will doesn't necessarily exist. However, even if everything is sort of predetermined by something, is caused by something that happened before,
Yeah.
we
Right.
still have to exist as if we have that freedom.
Okay.
We have to live our lives as if we have free will.
It's like nothing is original.
Yeah, so there's been a lot of neuroscience studies that suggest that our thoughts actually happen before consciousness can even observe the thought. So in that sense, are we really free?
Yeah.
So it's
How
just
does that make you
interesting.
feel, though?
So being at this convention, it's interesting because people are sort of fighting for freedom, but it almost seems futile if you think about freedom in that way. So, but I like to think of freedom in terms of self-mastery, creating yourself, having the freedom to create the life that you want, having the freedom to create your reality and to create who you want to be. To me, that feels more like freedom than just opposing something,
Right.
Because the other thing is like you can find freedom, like if you've ever seen the movie Shawshank Redemption.
It's a great movie.
So that's all about like freedom within the mind. Like, he was in prison, but he was able to find freedom within his mind, and he was able to hang on to hope And that's something that other people don't necessarily have that control. Even if you feel like your liberties are taken away from government control, there's still a way to find freedom within your mind.
So you can be free in any situation if you have freedom within the mind.
Yeah, inner freedom versus external freedom.
Yeah, so that would be an ability that you'd have to develop to be unaffected by the external circumstances, which is, I think, rare. People can develop that, but they have to have a lot of discipline to do it. And with screens nowadays, the way that people can be so manipulated, people really have to go within themselves, I think, to withstand the onslaught of propaganda that comes against them. And when it comes to the Libertarian Party, as much as I love a lot of the people that are involved in it, I agree with you in that a lot of the questions that you asked, but you asked great questions, you did a great job. The answers that you got about what is freedom were always like, well, freedom is this thing that it's better defined as what it's not. And it was never what it is, and it was never could be clearly defined or concretely defined or something that somebody could hear and repeat, and they would often kind of contradict themselves, which is understandable. Humans we contradict ourselves. We're hypocrites. So an acknowledgement of that, I think, is a more practical way to achieve things. But like, I don't know. It almost felt with the people that we talked to, like some sort of pitch. Here's this pitch for freedom, and that you can in no way take it and apply it in your own life.
Yeah, it sounded like a bunch of generic stuff that was very surface level. Like, freedom from having to pay taxes, freedom from poverty, freedom from government control, freedom from coercion. But nobody said anything about freedom from being driven by nothing but our biological impulses, or freedom from addiction, or freedom from, nothing about inner freedom.
Right.
So that's what I found interesting, is that nobody ever answered the question about that. So, but I think something weird happened with the
with the microphone?
headphones.
And then it
fell
popped out. Yeah.
Now I
you're
can
good.
hear my voice. What was your question?
We were talking about our views of the answers, and they were unsatisfying, many of them.
Yeah, they just weren't very clear. They were very surface level. They were kind of contradictory. There was like a little bit of hypocrisy within their answers, and just very kind of like lame. I feel like a lot of the answers were sort of lame. Like they didn't really think that deeply about the question. Like when I asked, what does freedom mean to you?
Yeah.
It felt like they were just regurgitating something they had heard from
They
someone
read.
else.
Right.
And they're just like conforming to these non-conformists.
It's like something you're supposed to say at a libertarian convention.
Yeah, exactly. I didn't get the sense that they were actually like thinking about it that deeply.
Jake is there. Hey, watch your mouths. You bet. We already talked good about you, Jake. The Starchild part happened earlier. We played it.
I like
but
Jake. He's cool.
Jake, you guys had the best booth there. You got the most popular booth there.
Yes.
And Jake, you guys were the most reasonable and well thought out group there. And so I commend you for that. And you're the only reason that I ever want to go to these events is you guys. It's no one else but you guys, because I respect the hell out of you. But so this British guy, which I checked out his website, and man, he has done a do-over here because he did not look like this on his website. But he compared himself to Charlie Kirk at one point.
Yeah.
But you did ask him some of these questions, so let's see what he had to say.
Yeah, he was interesting.
We thought he
it
looked
was
like Tosh.
4.0.
Yeah.
I was like, Daniel Tosh?
Daniel
Is that
Tosh.
you?
Yeah.
I thought you were Daniel Tosh.
You looked like
Your
Daniel Tosh from
profile,
afar.
You look just like Daniel Tosh. The one and only Robbie? Oh, your name's Robert William Miles?
Yeah.
Okay, and what brought you here today?
Peace. Peace on earth.
Peace on Earth. What does peace on Earth look like to you?
The absence of aggressing, so every human being is free and we're treating each other
Absence of something.
excellently.
What does freedom mean to you?
Freedom, I think, is defined best as what it's not. So it's the absence of initiation of non-consensual physical force, fraud, coercion, breaking contracts, breaking fiduciary duty. This
Yeah.
is
It's best defined and what it's not.
the legal principle that
And look, I understand it's a difficult question to answer.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean,
it's
a
not
difficult-
easy.
Yeah. I mean,
That Live movement is
But
founded
it's
upon.
like got- the
Live
answer's
and
got
Let Live is
six.
the organization I'm executive
Predictable.
director of. We have 2 principles: don't aggress, be excellent.
Okay, so it's
Don't
called Live
aggress
and
and
Let
be
Live.
excellent.
That's like a Guns N' Roses lyric. You know?
Yeah.
You used to say was an open book. Oh wait, no, that's
That's
Live and
Poison.
Let Die.
Is it
Yeah.
Poison?
It is-
Live
no,
and
this
Let
Guns
Live
N'
is
Roses,
way
you're
better
right.
than Live and Let Die.
Yeah. Die too. You know, I think it's horrendous that
This is
some
interesting.
people say that you can't end your life as well. I mean, it's I think one of the freedoms is that we should be able to live as we choose and choose not to live if we're in horrendous pain. Who the hell am I to say you've got to continue suffering? So, you know, live and let die. I don't think it's
Where is the
gonna quite-
line on that? What if it's
you gotta be
temporary pain that feels
You like that?
like long-term pain?
You've got to be a competent adult. So, you know, if someone's a minor or like suffering some mental illness where they don't have control over, they don't have agency, then there's a fiduciary relationship. You can't be ending their life even if they want to. But if someone is a competent adult that's not, if they're a competent adult, then it comes back to this question: who the hell am I to tell you how to live or not?
So you define competency by like cognition ability, like if they're mentally ill or something like that. Like,
It's a great question.
Yeah.
There's a few words that are integral to this legal principle, and there is no one definition. So, competent adult. At what age does one become an adult? Is it 18? Is it 17? There's not like a right answer. Another word is reasonableness. Who's actually defining the gold standard? What is reasonable? This is why we have the common law system, which evolves over time. We can triangulate on what's reasonable, but ultimately, Live and Let Live's kind of hidden third principle is let the local community decide. There are some topics where reasonable minds disagree, and we can fight about it, or we can live and let live. 3l.org, number 3, letter L.org, is the website.
He works the
Kind of
website
think of
in
us a
there.
little bit like Turning Point USA.
Everyone's
If
selling
Turning Point USA
something.
was aiming for peace on earth via these 2 principles.
do you think he's just a grifter?
No, I don't think I think everybody's a grifter, okay? We're all a little bit of a grifter. But some people's grift has honest intentions and they try to bring actual value. So everybody is trying to make money. No, I think that he is, I don't think he has ill intent. I just think that he is, I think that he has very surface level talking points. I went and looked at the websites that he gave us.
Oh.
And they're very new. They have a small following. Not that means anything. You can have a small following and be brilliant, but they're trying to start an organization, which is like very, I don't know, very globalist like. Which it's very, I don't know why he was here. It was very confusing why he was here after going to his website. Maybe he saw it as an opportunity, I guess, to market, but to fly across the world to market this brand new website and honestly to pitch it like Turning Point USA. We're like Turning Point USA, but we're not Turning Point USA. If they were this, we were Turning Point USA. I'm Charlie Cook. If Candace Owens did not win.
Yeah.
What-
Well, then
it's
why
weird.
compare yourself at all? It's Turning Point USA if you're not Turning Point
He's
USA.
like, I rely on my British accent. He's very charming. Very charming. There's no doubt about
yeah,
it. But
I do him.
And if
I
Turning
do
Point
'em.
USA was decentralized, so we are run by our ambassadors for topics, for regions, and we exist to serve those ambassadors. We're a mutual aid network in some ways. We help those that share these 2 principles, that each human should be free and we should treat
he
each other
seems-
excellently. And in some ways, we are a reaction to libertarianism. We are somewhat critical of the libertarian movement because aiming for freedom, like why aim so short? Why aim for independence when we can aim for interdependence? You know, where we are freely engaging with each other
Because he's like,
and
I'm a
helping each other
globalist,
out because we can, not because we must.
so when you say interdependence, do you mean all over the whole Earth?
No reason not to. I mean, I think
Great
we've been
question.
caught in tribalism for so long. No, I'm not saying that we should. consider ourselves as part of the global tribe, but like I do personally. Does that make me a globalist? Well, I don't want a global government, but I recognize that we're from one Earth. There's only one of these Earths that we found so far. It's a very beautiful, precious thing. I don't find much difference in the 40 countries I've been to around the world between human beings in those countries. I like to think of all human beings as my brothers and sisters. That makes me feel good, but I don't
think
say that everyone has to do the same.
Right.
But I think that's the kind of ethos of the Live and Let Live movement. Everyone's our brother and sister. If you agree that each human should be free, then you're a brother and sister of us.
If anybody here were a Fed, who would it be?
It's got to be the British guy, right? I'm on the cover.
Good
I'm gonna
answer.
this is originally our country, and I'm trying to take it back.
Oh, I knew it.
I always knew it.
Cover Fed.
Tell us about your book, man.
So that's actually a conspiracy that I think that we never actually broke free from the British Empire, and I don't think he even knew that I was referring to that. But Jake says that he chatted with him for a while, and he seems like a decent guy. He's a long way to go when it comes to political and social philosophies that might lead to peace. And I would agree with that. After looking at his website, I felt a little bad for messing with him, because I think that he was sent over here, obviously well funded to come over to the U.S. from the UK, but their organization is very new.
Yeah.
And they still have like those weird, when you have a new website and it's got like that language you don't understand on some of the pages.
Yeah.
So they're brand new and they're trying to figure it out. And so I can give him some credit for coming over here and putting his balls on the line.
Yeah, and I didn't really mess with him. I just asked questions.
No,
So
I know.
I don't feel bad for asking
I mean,
questions.
you should feel terrible about it.
I just ask
No,
questions.
you should feel bad about it.
I feel good about asking questions. Asking questions is a good thing.
It's good. So I think we probably helped him
Yeah.
by challenging him to some of those, because he didn't have answers ready for that.
Definitely. And I feel like anytime I have a belief and somebody challenges me, that I appreciate that. I think that's a good thing. I think what we did is a good thing. You shouldn't feel bad.
Look, they say it sounds like we're trying to smear him because he was dressed super lame. No, he looked good. I thought he looked great.
I wasn't trying to smear him. I was just asking questions.
Yeah, we thought he looked like Daniel Tosh, and then he
I thought
turned
he was
around and he
hot.
talked to us.
Yeah.
And he
He had like really pretty eyes.
he's a good looking guy. You look at his website, he got a glow up. There's no doubt about it from his website. His Spirit of Hedge says, Brad and Kim, what are definitions of... All right, so, that's a good question. What are our definitions of freedom and libertarianism?
Well, I kind of already answered.
Yeah.
I focus more on internal freedom versus external freedom. How can I gain more control over my own thoughts and my own actions in a way that I feel is productive and creative and purposeful and intentional? Because I teach mindfulness. I'm a yoga teacher. I teach meditation. So because my profession is all about internal freedom, that's typically my focus. However, when it comes to politics, I think, libertarian, that's a term that I think is fun to talk about because it means something different to everyone. Everyone you talk to is going to have a different definition of libertarian in 2026. I mean, the term originated in like the 18th century. Originally, it was just like anarchists rebelling against monarchs. So it always had sort of a rebellion meaning to it. But the way it's evolved now in the West, people are very divided about what that means. So, but I mean, what does it mean to you?
Well, libertarianism is, to me, it's a political term that means nothing to me. It means literally nothing to me.
Yeah.
And I don't say that in like a derogatory way. I see all these terms as prisons. They're a prison that once you accept them, you can't escape. And when you have a conversation with somebody, they see you as someone in that prison or who identifies with that stereotype. And like I said, I don't mean that in a derogatory way. I very much libertarianism is something that I appreciate and I align myself with far closer than Republicans or Democrats. But I think all of it is a little bit of a
Trap.
A trap, yes.
Yeah. I think when you box yourself into one of those labels, it feels like a trap. And it almost feels like the sinister plan to divide and conquer. Almost like I mean, that's kind of what it feels like when you identify with that label. I don't like identifying with labels because then I feel boxed in, and that is the opposite of freedom to me.
Right. And so you have like people like Starchild. So Jake and Kat and Zane and all those guys that I adore. I would every day of the week I would align myself with them and associate with them. Starchild, as much I think. Look, I don't think Chase is a bad guy. I think Chase Oliver's a good guy. I think he's performative, whatever. I think Chase is a little bitter now, actually, after talking to him at this convention than he used to be before. But I think he is deep down a good guy. Those aren't someone that if I say I'm a libertarian, they say, oh, you're like Chase Oliver and Starchild. No, that's not. And so that's why I don't like to associate with that. And I know that there's an internal struggle going on with it, but I don't know what the answer is for that when it comes to a political party, because you can't just be a bunch of random individuals. I do understand that. And I know I'm the outsider when it comes to this, but I think the libertarians need that. And I'm Jake, I'm always happy to come in and criticize the entire party. So Jake, who's listening, is a fantastic cinematographer and a hard worker, and he would totally help them with their production of things, and their production of things as is shit. It's complete shit. So you watch the Democrat or Republican convention on television, and it looks like it's Hollywood produced. And you know what you don't do? You don't think about all of the audio and visual problems. You watch the Libertarian convention at some point, and you're like, why is the camera on a guy's cock? And they don't even ask Jake. And there's a couple other guys who are good at it too. They don't even ask them to help. I don't know if it's because they're against this idea of like, we don't need to do. Well, yeah, you do. You need to make sure people aren't focusing on the problem so they can listen to your ideas. And it's a modern state of society. I don't even know what my point was of that, but my idea of libertarianism is that I think that people should just do what they want to do, and they should be cool to each other. And that's probably not the most political definition of it, but just be nice to each other. Don't fuck with people. And
Yeah, I feel like when you try to define those terms, that's when you're opening yourself up to a really futile, when you're arguing semantics. I never really like arguing semantics because it's beside the point. We've invented all these words, and language is limited. Language is limited in what we can understand and communicate. Yeah. And like 92% of communication is nonverbal anyway. But when we try to separate ourselves as, no, I'm Democrat, I'm Republican, I'm Libertarian, that's creating more division and less unity to me. So, I think if there's a way to kind of try to have these conversations without getting stuck on labels and without arguing semantics, I think that would be a lot more of a constructive conversation.
Yeah, words are emotional triggers. Mm-hmm. They're computer programming.
Yeah.
And I think the more we can recognize which ones trigger us into certain states, then the more we cannot be controlled by language.
Yeah.
And the hard R, I'm not going to say it. The hard R is like the most obvious example of that, how that just can, certain people can say it, others cannot say it. And if the people who can't say it, then everything blows up. It's a fucking word.
It is just a word. So
it's a social construct.
Yeah.
And it's recognizing that and stepping outside of that is difficult. But you get people in groups and you start to propagandize through certain screens and certain influential figures, and they tell you anybody who says that is your enemy and has ill will against you, and then you start to believe that. And then it creates this tribalism, which is the problem with society and is what is used in propaganda to turn people against each other using these goddamn words.
Yeah, and words can be used as a weapon. When you know what words trigger somebody, you can use that as a weapon. But
Absolutely.
you also have the power to react in a different way. You don't have to let words have that much power over you. You can find freedom beyond words. You can find a way to communicate beyond words. Like you can communicate through dance and through art and through music.
So you think we should get some black people and some white people together and they should dance, they should communicate? Maybe.
I feel like dance and music really brings people together because it's an invisible language.
I mean, that was going to be my question to you is with these words having such power over people, how do you disempower this language and get people to not have such anger toward each other? And honestly, I think a lot of the anger is online. I think it's manufactured. I think when you're in person, yes, it's there, but it's nothing like the perception that is created online. It's like they want to create this reality that people who are online live, and they try to manifest, and then you go meet people in person, and then they're like, they don't give as much of a shit. Sometimes they do. But that's a battle, actually, is to turn the actual in real life world into the online world. Because if you can do that, then you can control everything through this language and through this propaganda that is seeded through these influencers and top down. It's just crazy how consistent it is with the verbiage they use. I don't think everybody's controlled, but I think some people see it and then they repeat it. But like, when you talk to people one-on-one, they're usually not like the whatever the person is who's screaming at you on X.
Right. There's something about the psychology of feeling safer behind a keyboard to type all these angry words, and it's not as people don't feel comfortable doing that in person. But to answer your question,
a long-winded question.
Yeah, I feel like having conversations and communicating in ways that are try to communicate with an open mind without being presumptuous. If somebody uses a word that you find offensive, maybe don't presume that was their intention. Or maybe ask what they meant by that. Yeah. It's a simple question. What do you mean by that? And then maybe you can find some commonality. If you seek first to understand before you seek to be understood, you're going to have more of a constructive conversation.
Is that Kim original? Is that a philosopher?
Yeah, if you're having a conversation, that's why I prefer asking questions, because I'm seeking to understand before I'm just trying to force someone to understand me.
For me, I think that reading stuff that makes you think like that is helpful. And I think that you do also. Is there anything you would recommend?
I mean, I think reading any books that have differing opinions that you've never been exposed to before. For instance, if you grew up Catholic, reading a book that's like the opposite of Catholicism, or exposing yourself. That's why I went to this Libertarian convention, because it's something different. I thought, oh, maybe I'll come away with a new perspective on something. So putting yourself out there in unfamiliar, uncomfortable situations, stepping outside of reading material that will make you uncomfortable and challenge your beliefs. That's what I say.
Yeah.
I mean, I specific recommendations, I can't think of, but yeah.
You're a Kant fan, right?
Yeah. Well, I just like philosophy in general. I like a lot of Kant's ideas, but I think I recommend you go out and you discover your own ideas. I don't want you to just adopt mine. So
no, yeah, no, you shouldn't adopt. But yeah, no,
that's a great still frame.
So we're gonna. Speaking of a philosopher, warrior, lawyer, physicist. What else was he? 97% vote getter, Russian speaker.
Yeah.
We met somebody pretty extraordinary. And this guy was at the convention, and quite honestly, he had a thing in front of him. It had like $6 in it. Maybe he put those $6 in it, but if he didn't, I wonder who donated to this guy's campaign. Because this is a guy, this is what you experience. You experience a lot of great people at the Libertarian Convention, but then this guy was a very creepy guy who was very off-put by us, as you can see by that still image.
Well, he was playing really loud music. I think it was like music probably from like the 70s.
He's playing rock and roll music.
Yeah, very, very loud music. And we went over, we were like, let's ask him some questions.
And
so
here was our interaction with this guy.
Absolutely rock your world.
I've been waiting for someone to rock my world.
I
Sorry.
Find genetic here. No one is certain. That's the
Hold on. No, I need to play the super cut of like hilarious things that you did before this ends.
achieve what we want to achieve.
Right.
Yeah.
So going back to space and time, how can we move through space and
This is a
time? What do you know
previous
about
interview.
that?
Yeah, so when I say space and time, as in like mobility, it used to be the Conestoga, now we have cars, and now people are talking about rockets to Mars and things like that.
is
And you
a
got like
bit of a
Waymo
shift,
and
but-
everybody who's saying that if you live in a city, you might not need to own a car in the future. So as far as like navigating
little
space without
Klaus
having to
Schwab-y.
pay a lot of time and energy and money,
He wanted to
into
go to Mars,
getting
his
from A
wife
to B,
didn't.
like getting your groceries and stuff and distributing goods and resources, things like that.
If you had a chance to colonize on Mars, would you?
Yes, I'm totally into the idea of going and seeing that.
What do you think of that? Not to shift subjects, we're going to go back and play that other guy, but like that idea of if you had the chance to go to Mars and colonize, are you interested in that?
Well, I mean, I feel like we're destroying the Earth, and eventually the Earth is going to.
You think we're destroying the Earth?
Yeah, I mean, scientifically speaking, the Earth isn't going to last forever. So I think that's the. I mean, Elon Musk talks about this, how we should try to colonize on Mars because, yeah, I mean, the Earth
Take a
isn't.
Tesla up there.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, it makes sense if you want to preserve the human race.
But would you, if everything is fine here and they're like, we want to go colonize Mars, which is what this guy seems to be responding to, would you go do it just to go
out
see?
of curiosity, yeah. I mean,
You would? It's a fucking, it's a desert. You're going to live in a bubble. It's going to be hell.
it might be something a little different, something new.
Have you ever been to Arizona?
I love Arizona. Yeah, I've been in the Grand Canyon.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's grand.
Yeah. Is it Grant?
Yeah, it's grand.
Have you been to every state in the Union?
No.
Okay. But you want to go to Mars?
I'm not saying I want to go right now. I'm just saying if presented the opportunity to live on Mars
just-
in a way, if it was sustainable, I wouldn't be opposed. I wouldn't be like, no, never.
No, okay.
I'm not saying, oh, I want to go
Be
tomorrow.
open to it.
Yeah, be open to it.
I'm open to it, but it's just like, can I see the bottom of the ocean first? Can we see what is on this fucking planet? Like, we haven't even explored this entire planet, and you guys want to go live on this desolate Mars?
I don't
this,
know.
like-
I mean, maybe I would feel like I belong over there.
you love going outdoors. You'll be in a bubble the entire time.
How do you know?
I'm just, you're right. Maybe it'll be the perfect environment.
Maybe there's a part of our human body that hasn't been unlocked.
Maybe-
That once
right.
unlocked is actually going to be happier on Mars.
It's very good at rationalization.
It's possible.
It's not
maybe
impossible.
Maybe we go on Mars and then suddenly like we transform and adapt to the climate there and evolve to a higher state of consciousness where we are
Right.
not so like mad at each other all the time and we can get along.
But wouldn't you want there to be a test group to go first and find that out?
Maybe, but yeah.
I would go to Mars if I was just like everybody here hated me and I was like, I gotta get out of here. I gotta go. I have burned all my bridges. I need to get to Mars.
Actually, she and I have talked about that. My wife and I have talked, and I'm like, what would you say if we're like 80 and they're ready to go? Would you want to go and see it? And I
Where there's no health care.
say hell yes. That's where I'm
Says
at.
What does she say?
She was no.
She says hell maybe.
No, I saw her. She was no.
Yeah. If it's a sure thing.
I'm curious, what is your most controversial libertarian idea?
For me, life is a mystery, and that is the fundamental reason why we shouldn't
controversial.
coerce each other into following a certain path. The fact that life is a mystery, that we don't really know what it is that we're doing here, no one is certain, that's the ground fact of why we should not coerce each other into following a certain path.
Like, we should have brought books to sell, because we would have been able. We would have been able to sell anything we wanted there.
We should have brought a book. I didn't think of that.
Next time,
Yeah.
we'll write a book. Go ahead.
I kind of like what he was saying there about how, like, life is a mystery.
It is.
And not to necessarily coerce people into just blindly believing everything you believe. I kind of like what he was saying there.
I completely like what he's saying there,
But
but,
he didn't
that's
really
not controversial.
yeah, it's not very, very controversial. And he didn't really answer, what does it mean to be a human? Does it mean to have a soul?
Yeah.
Does it mean to have awareness? Does it mean to have a nervous system? Does it mean, what does it mean to be? So he didn't really go that deep into it, is my point.
Because it's
just
mysterious,
surface
so
level
who's
stuff.
to say?
Not very controversial.
Right. It's you're got to get any nervous system conversation.
One person knows
this
what's
group.
best for anyone else, right?
Yes.
So what do you hope the main thing people get from reading this book? What is the main thing you want people to get when they read
He
it?
was a nice guy.
That government
Yeah.
is not the best avenue to progress. And in
course.
fact, getting government out
what
of
they all
our
say.
lives is
They
a
need
better
to
avenue
say
to
this
progress.
differently. It needs to impact people.
FadeToFreedom.com. But let me
So look, so all these things that they're saying, I love the idea of get government out of your life, but they all say the same things. And then they sell some sort of product. It's just fine. Everybody should be able to make money. I don't care about that. But hit me in the face with it. There needs to be somebody who punches me in the goddamn face with it.
That's why we should have brought a book to sell called
Punch
You
me in the goddamn face
Yeah,
with it.
and we could just walk around and punch people
Punch
in the face.
people in the
And
face.
then they could be like, "Why did you do that?" Well,
Freedom.
It's and then we could show that would have been the best way to actually get attention.
And you guys have to understand, if you're listening, that this is not. We're not doing this to the Democrat and Republic thing because I don't give a shit about them. It's because I like the ideas. It's just the communication of them. It's all the same. It's all the fucking same. And then you have the weird shit and whatever. The weird shit can come in as long as it's communicating something. Who gives a fuck? We did a lot of weird shit while we were there.
Yeah.
And it just, people need to be inspired to get their asses up and do something, and maybe not necessarily joining a party. I'd be far more willing to join a party that wasn't trying to get me to join it, that was trying to get me to do better. And I think that a lot of the people involved here try to get people to do better, like what Jake and Peaceful Sea Network does with the Great Create, trying to get people, like, it just inspires people to do things. That kind of stuff is like, okay, cool. You're triggering me to be a better version of myself. It's just listening to people say talking points that are so surface level and they're so non-tangible that I just want to see. Look, Jo Jorgensen's probably a very sweet lady, but she's gonna run and she's gonna get money behind her for some reason, which is crazy.
Yeah.
She will.
Yeah.
Chase Oliver got money behind him. They lost ballot access because Dave Smith, people believed him, and then Chase Oliver became the candidate. Don't be gullible, be critical, be skeptical, but be loving. And fucking, it's not about the fucking party. It's about what people can fucking do. And like what you can pull from within people that is great within them, because everybody has greatness within them.
Yeah, I feel like if we had watched something that was somewhat emotionally inspiring and intellectually inspiring, then I would have walked away like, oh, okay, I something was accomplished, you know. But like, I mean, they voted on their little like positions of power, like the positions within. That's. I mean, I don't know what they even accomplished.
Yeah, and I guess that's their business that they're doing. So they're like,
Yeah.
we're doing our business and whatever. But when your business every year when they do their business, it becomes a joke on the internet. It does. It becomes a joke, and it shouldn't become a joke because they have better ideas than the other retarded parties. The other retarded parties are just more united. And there's you in a helmet, right there. And this is a nice guy talking about privacy. What?
Yeah, he was nice. Oh, I liked him too.
He was nice too. I cut the part out with his baby because I didn't want to show his baby.
That's fair.
But here's you asking him about freedom.
He hasn't done a
Liberty.
welfare system, and then we need to make sure that we haven't let in the millions of people that Joe Biden let in. We need to make sure that our country is safe and secure.
Let's give that.
He hasn't done a podcast for a long time, but Jason Stapleton,
Sorry, I'm trying to get your question, which I thought it was interesting that you asked him a question about freedom, and then he
Very much,
gave
sir.
somebody else's
Appreciate it.
What
answer
does
for
the
freedom.
term libertarian mean to you today?
He hasn't done a podcast for a long time, but Jason Stapleton, when he had a libertarian podcast or political podcast, said a libertarian is someone who holds liberty as their primary political value. If you look at a political issue and your first question is, how does this advance or contract liberty?
What the fuck does that mean?
How does this advance or contract? What does it mean to contract liberty?
I don't know. I like this guy. This guy was a really nice guy.
Yeah.
A genuine guy.
Yeah.
I don't know what the fuck that means.
And that's your primary value politically, then I think you're libertarian.
Okay.
This is my
So that was when we've touched on this a lot, but the concrete definition of these things, the reason things are so manipulatable is because there is no concrete definition of it.
It's an elusive concept. I don't even think when people answer the question, what does libertarian mean? They don't actually know what to say. It seems like they don't know what to say, so they're just sort of like regurgitating a definition somebody else said that doesn't actually have any clear, practical application.
And so what I think would be beneficial for anybody who wants to shake things up a little bit is to come up with a clear, concrete definition of what you mean by it, with examples of it. And that will alienate a lot of people, but good. That's good. You want to attract the ones who agree with what you define, and you want to get the ones who don't to run away from it. Liberty, democracy, all these words that are used to control us, these are propaganda terms. They're called glittering generalities. They're in every propaganda book for the past 100 years. The literature has been written in all the universities. The first people like Edward Bernays, Harold Laswell to write about propaganda, they include all of these terms, and they say these are the manipulatable terms that do not have a concrete definition because they can change them, and they can use them for whatever purpose to bring mass groups of people together and manipulate them in a different direction. Because you bring people in who have different definitions in their own mind, and they don't realize it's conflicting, but the people manipulating you don't give a shit. So define them and weed people out and get a clear vision of what it is you want and the people that you want to work with want, and then you will not have to worry about all this bullshit. Yes, it will shrink the amount of people you're working with, but the alternative is this. It's literally one of the most fundamental propaganda terms, and the entire party is based on it. And I don't know what the answer is. I don't. I think the answer is skepticism with love. Loving skepticism.
Loving skepticism.
People get black-pilled sometimes. I'm not a black-pill person, but I'm a skeptical person. And I think everyone should be. But it doesn't mean you have to hate anybody.
No.
I'm skeptical of you.
You should be.
Yeah, no.
I'm skeptical of myself too. You should always be skeptical about yourself. It starts with you. Skeptical about others, but also skeptical about yourself first.
I agree. I completely agree with that. Kim, tell me, I know I went off on a rant there, but just what are your takeaways from the convention that we experienced and people we talked to? We do have a few more clips, but I'll play some of the fun stuff we did to end the show. Just, you are someone who, I know a lot of people who are very afraid to admit what they feel politically because of how it might affect them in their career. I know other people who privately admit things to me. I know other people who won't talk to people because of their politics. Their lives are very controlled by politics and philosophies that seem less about what they understand and more about what they've been propagandized with. But I know that you enjoy, thinking deeply about philosophies. Well, just so, how does all of this affect you, and do you have a different view of anything?
After the convention?
After the convention.
Yeah, so I went into the convention hoping that my perspective might change in some way, or I might get some insight into the inner workings of the minds of libertarians and understand. I really wanted to understand why the party is so divided and the various opinions, and just kind of pick the brains of everyone and understand the psychology a little more. I didn't have any revelations. I didn't have any big epiphanies when I was there. My mind wasn't changed. My perspective wasn't shifted. It was entertaining. I thought some of the people were very nice. I thought most of the people have good intentions. I think the one thing that bothered me, though, was the hypocrisy about this notion of just, and this might sound judgy, but a lot of, so be it, but a lot of the people there were heavily intoxicated and doing drugs and doing really harmful things to their health, harmful things to their bodies. And I'm biased because I'm a health coach, but I question, are you able to think clearly and make smart political choices if you're drunk and inebriated? And also, like, I don't define freedom as addiction. Like, if you're addicted to a substance, that's the opposite of freedom. That's the substance controlling you in an unhealthy way. So that was the one hypocrisy that really struck me. So many of these people are all preaching freedom, yet they're not free because they're addicted to substances. So I don't know. That was just one thing I noticed.
To them, they might feel freer with the substance because it allows them to do things they wouldn't do without it.
But that's the substance controlling them.
Right.
That's not them having autonomy. Yeah. That's them just making choices because they don't have control because they're not sober. So that's the substance controlling them. That's not them controlling the substance.
And I did ask one of the guys what percentage of people he thought were. He said less than I believed. I don't know. Seemed like probably most people, because they told me they were, that I spoke with.
I don't want to generalize. I'm not saying everyone
I'm not
there
saying
is
everybody there was
an
like
alcoholic
that.
or something.
I agree, but that was something that was very obvious because there were the people that were the most vocal seemed to be intoxicated.
Yeah.
There's people standing up and they were being kind of animated.
And they also weren't making a whole lot of sense.
Yeah, right.
They were intoxicated. I mean, alcohol is a poison.
Right.
It doesn't do anything good for you other than turn you into an ape. You can't think clearly. Yeah. So to me, that's just the opposite. So that was the one hypocrisy. But I mean, I feel like most of the people I talked to had really good intentions, and I agreed with a lot of the ideas. I like a lot of the ideas, but I don't necessarily feel like they are doing anything practical and productive with those ideas.
And the whole free speech idea, which is a fundamental principle of libertarianism. When you have someone thrown out of the convention, you can call that into question. Now, the argument's going to be, well, someone slapped someone because they took a paper off of the table, and then there's all these different reasons to justify removing a group. And I don't know all the details of it, but it's like every time a group is pure free speech or pure any other freedom, that something is introduced into the mix that shows that they're not. And I'm not saying we should be hunters and gatherers, but I think we should recognize that things can't be so pure. I think that's the problem.
When you say pure,
well, you have a part of libertarianism. Libertarianism is that, we're free speech absolutist. We are pro-gun. We are limited government, and then there'll be stunts that someone does that shows that contradicts that triggers people into doing the opposite of that.
well, yeah, it raises a lot of questions like what's more important, freedom, or sometimes it becomes a question of freedom versus chaos.
Right.
Because if you have so much freedom to do all the things, and that can cause chaos. So is order more important than freedom? And at what point does freedom become just complete disorder and irresponsibility? And I mean, it raises a question about responsibility, I think.
And that's what everything is self-responsibility if you really want to be free.
Right. It's because if you believe that you have free will, then you feel like you're responsible.
And that's all of what government is. Government is, whether it's the left or right, is convincing people that they do not have power over themselves, and therefore the government will step in and solve those things, and you will rely on them. And when it comes to libertarianism, I feel like society has evolved to a point because people have become more aware, a little bit more awake of propaganda. I think people feel they're more awake to it than they actually are. But there is a little bit of awakening that's happened to where I think it would be helpful to be like, look, we're not this pure, because these pure libertarian ideals they're not realistic. And if it's like, we believe our ideal is this, but here's the nuanced situation. I feel like if we introduce the nuance, then it would attract people who reject them right now, and maybe people who could help them more. And I think society's ready for that, because I personally, I'm sick and tired of this idea that nuance doesn't exist.
Well, yeah. So to your point, I mean, the guy that we talked to about mushrooms, I asked him, I was like, so do you think kids should be allowed to do mushrooms?
Yeah.
And he was like, well, what do you define as a kid? And or the guy that we talked to about, you should be free to off yourself. But there's a nuance in that, because he said you should be free to off yourself as long as you're a competent adult. Okay, well then how do you define a competent adult?
Right.
And then he doesn't have a concrete answer. He says, well, you could say an adult is this age or that age. How do you define competency? Who's the arbiter of what's competent? So it gets nuanced. Everything is nuanced.
Which is crazy, because people's moods can change.
You can't have like an absolutist idea when it comes to freedom, because freedom is also subjective as well. So,
yeah. But everybody feels they have to give these definitions of that when it's just like, how about just be like, I don't have the clear. Life is nuanced.
Right. Yeah.
It's complicated.
Yeah.
Nobody is the picture of of perfectionism that all of these standards that we try to live up to. Nobody meets them. And back in the day when there wasn't as much information, and you can try and you put these figures up that pretend to be that. I get that you're putting them up there, and it was never true. But right now, nobody believes it anymore. no, be nuanced, embrace nuance. I think people should do that.
Yeah.
I think you will attract more people. And I think people just feel like, I don't know, maybe I'm in a bubble with this because of what I do, because I feel like this way. I'm insulted by the simplicity. It's insulting to me. And I know it's not anybody being mean, and people are trying to play certain things. Some people are grifters. Some are just trying to propagate the message of their party, but it's just like, it's insulting when you look at the actions of the person who's delivering these messages, and then the messages themselves. There's such a contradiction. You're a human. We're all humans. Politicians used to pretend to not be human. They used to act like they were above this, and that's why people would vote for them. They're so perfect. Mm-hmm. They're great. They do these things we can't do. They're more fucked up than we are. Mm-hmm. So what? So fucking what? It should be flawed. We're all flawed. And maybe all of these people who have felt depressed and down and like they haven't been able to achieve things, maybe part of it is because this image of reality of all these unflawed individuals that they've been subjected to, maybe they think that's real. Maybe they don't realize all those motherfuckers are just as fucked up as they are. Mm-hmm. Maybe it would be comforting for them to realize, oh, Eric Swalwell is a fucking creep. Yeah, you know, mm-hmm. He's a creep who deceived people, and he just was confident about. Maybe it would fucking be comforting to people to realize that Lindsey Graham's a fucking creep. That Donald Trump comes from a fucking drama. His mother was a fucking theater person. Maybe all that shit would change this perception of this is an ungodly human who is able to do things that I'll never be capable of. Does that make any sense?
It does make sense. However, do you know anyone who thinks of politicians as an ungodly human?
I know plenty of people who the way they talk about these politicians, it's as though they can do no wrong.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, so I guess I don't know anybody. Most people I know think politicians are like really corrupt, and
it's gotten more that way over the past few years. But yeah, there is a lot of people who see no wrong in some of these politicians. Now maybe they do that on purpose. They're blind about it because they're trying to promote their side.
Well, maybe they want to believe that somebody is going to take care of them because they don't know how to take care of themselves.
That's exactly what it is. That's exactly what it is.
I mean, most people are so motivated by fear and desire, and that we don't really want freedom because we'd rather somebody just tell us what to do.
That's exactly right.
That's easier.
That's the question.
We don't have to be. Some people just like being lazy. You know, it's hard to think for yourself. It's hard to think critically.
Do people want freedom?
I think a lot of people don't. I think a lot of people it's easier if somebody's just telling you what to do. You don't have the freedom to make up your own mind and make your own choices. It's a lot easier just to be told what to do. So,
why do you think that is? Is that a fear of making the wrong decision?
I think it has to do with fear and laziness.
Laziness.
Yeah.
They just don't want to take initiative.
I think I think it has a lot to do with being brain dead from eating crap food. So you don't have the mental capacity. You don't have the mental capacity to think critically, to examine your thoughts, to examine reality, because you're just in a rat race, chasing this elusive concept because you're told by society you need these things to be happy. So you don't have the time or energy or headspace to think critically, to examine your life, to examine this whole reality. So it's a lot easier just to have somebody tell you how to live your life, and then you don't have any responsibility, and you can just be lazy and like a robot. I don't know.
What was your solution? Eating right? obviously, exercising.
Well, I mean, that's why I'm
But
a
how do you
health-
shake people out? So my
That's why I'm a
my
health-
solution is to shake people out of that is to do what I do with the propaganda and just and your solution, health and eating better. But like, how do we wake people up?
Well, yeah, I think that if a person is unhappy, spending time with yourself to reflect, to journal, to read new things, to experience new things, to step out of your comfort zone. We're never going to grow or evolve to anything if we just stay in what's comfortable. It's very comfortable when you're a child and you have your parents doing everything for you and telling you what to do. It becomes more uncomfortable when you're an adult and you have those responsibilities. So stepping outside your comfort zone, learning new things, trying new things, and yes, taking care of your mind and body, eating healthy, exercising. I teach yoga and meditation. I teach Tai Chi and I teach dance, movement. Movement is healing in many ways. When you learn new types of movement, you increase the neuroplasticity in your brain. And when you increase the neuroplasticity in your brain, you're more susceptible to creative, original thought when you learn to move in new and different ways. So that's what I do when I teach yoga and dance. So there's so many different things you can do to change and evolve.
Taking action in any way.
Yeah.
Like that, that's directed action, but just you can wake up and if you don't have somewhere to be, or like if some people work from home, I think that caused a lot of problems with the pandemic, is where it made everybody work from home, so people had nowhere to be. I think it's good to have somewhere to be, and if you're sitting there, it's just you can just mess around.
Or you can use that time to reflect and to journal and to think about what you really want out of this life. This is your life. What do you want to create for yourself? What do you want to create for others?
How do you motivate people to reflect? Reflecting, I think, is the most terrifying thing for most people. I think every human is terrified of reflecting, because when they start reflecting, the first thing they go to is their regrets and what they wish they had done. So they don't do it and they zone out. Maybe they go smoke weed. They do anything but reflect. But I agree with you. Reflection is the best activity you can do. It will create new nodes in your brain, and it's always beneficial, even if painful at first, but the challenge is doing it. So
it helps to have a guide, and that's what I do. I'm a meditation guide. I'm a health coach, so I guide people through meditations, which allow you to reflect and find inner peace. That's the whole point of meditation, is to process your emotions, process your thoughts, and find a level of inner peace. Not erase your thoughts, not hide from your thoughts, but confront your thoughts, confront your fears, confront your true desires, and get to a place of self-awareness and self-acceptance and self-care, because you can't be the best version of yourself for others if you don't practice self-care first. You know, when I first was learning about meditation, I thought, well, is this just like self-indulgent BS? But until you actually practice it, you're never going to understand the benefits of it until you actually give it a chance. And that takes discipline. And it helps to have somebody guide you. So, you know, we're all on this rock together. We're all social creatures. So I think that meditation, taking the time to meditate, I do it for others. I don't do it for myself, because I know that I'm going to be in a better headspace and be a positive influence for others after I meditate, if I meditate every day. If I don't take the time to do it, I don't like myself as much.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, it's such simple practices I teach, but they have very profound impact if you actually have the discipline to do it. You have to believe that.
You said if you don't do it, you don't feel as good about yourself. I think that our thoughts are our most powerful weapon, also our most powerful enemy. And I think we're dominant. We've talked about this on shows before, but I like to reiterate it because it helps me personally. But I also think it's beneficial for everyone in that the things that we tell ourselves that are negative will destroy our lives if we continue to tell ourselves that. And because they become unconscious, they become what directs us. And if they're there for years, we have to overcome them. And so we have to say good things about ourselves. We have to repeat the good things about ourselves. And it might be like, oh, that feels stupid to say. No. You have to defeat the negative thoughts.
So yes, I agree with what you're saying, but there's also something called toxic positivity, because it's okay to have negative thoughts, but it's about, so when you're in meditation, it's simply about observing your thoughts without judging them as negative or positive. When you're in deep meditation, it's simply about observing your thoughts without judgment. Almost like your thoughts are like clouds just passing by without identifying with your thoughts and without attaching to your thoughts and just observing the thought without any attachment, any judgment, any identification, and then letting the thought come, letting it go, and then maybe putting the thought aside and then bringing all your attention back to whatever your anchor is. Sometimes your anchor is your breath. Sometimes it is a positive mantra. Sometimes it's sound. Sometimes it's someone's voice. Sometimes it's your fingertips. So it's about having an anchor to focus on. But it's not about never being negative. It's not about eliminating your negative thoughts. It's just about observing all your thoughts without judging them as negative or positive. That's what meditation's about.
Yeah.
And the other thing about toxic positivity is
Can I say that? That's
yeah.
But I mean, when people tell them they hate themselves.
Well, yeah. When you're telling yourself you hate yourself, obviously that's not going to have any benefit.
Yeah.
But I just wanted to make that point because I do think there's a balance when it comes to facing reality, right? When you're telling yourself, okay, so for instance, if I'm sitting there saying, oh, I can fly, I can fly, I can fly, I can fly.
Yeah.
And then I jump out the window, I'm going to die. So it's not about like escaping reality. And, but yes, I mean, if you have toxic thoughts, you definitely, there's ways of, changing that and shifting that in your own mind. And it takes a practice, it takes concentrated effort. And that's definitely beneficial.
Yeah, seeing in yourself what people who love you, seeing you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't mean just being an arrogant piece of shit.
Yeah.
But I understand what you're saying. So I think we need to wrap this up. I think we should wrap it up with some of the funnier stuff.
Okay,
we did.
sure, yeah.
Unless we've been a little intense. Yeah, I think we should watch this weirdo that we were going to get to a little while ago. Not those guys. That guy kept saying in the box. So if you're, we can just a quick thing on this dude. It's pretty short edit. This guy kept saying. So what they do at these conventions is they say "in the body" a lot.
Yeah, in the body.
They keep saying "in the body."
In the body.
And it's just, it's hard not to think of it as sexual when they say it.
Yeah.
And you want to hear somebody say it funny. So I made like kind of a short edit of this. These are two nice dudes, and they were talking about something that they appreciated. I thought it was kind of boring, but they said "in the body" a lot. So here they are. Oh, damn it. Jesus Christ. There's a lot of people talking about Jesus too.
Well, yeah, I went around and I asked people what they thought about a specific Bible.
I know. I got some clips
excerpts.
of that. Yeah, to show. I got the pirate guy, which is one of the funniest ones.
Moved fairly decently due to some updates the body chose to make as far as procedural stuff. Raised the bar a little bit so two people can't kind of hold the entire body hostage on the process. If they get a single second, then with the entire body has to take it up.
So previously the body needed 2 for a second.
Just one person,
Now-
the person that actually moved it and the person that seconded.
So 20 in the body. Okay. What about the air conditioning fiasco
So
in the body?
So that wasn't really a fiasco. So there's some of the things that go on in the hall can even be somewhat chalked up to, sometimes they're even borderline an inside joke. So Florida.
Inside the body.
Yeah. If you want to see people tear each other apart, you'll have to go back and look at the 2022 at Reno. But that was.
The body ripped itself apart then.
Yeah, pretty much. The making of the sausage in a convention is always messy.
Make sausage.
No, I mean, some of us make sausage, some of us make damn good sausage, but you know, you got to work things out. And when you got 500 people in the room that are all very individualistic, there's a lot of opinions.
Right. It's hard to unify. I mean, everybody is so individualistic and so many different bodies within the body making the sausage.
Experience over a lot of different years. So.
Who was it at the 2024? It was Reckenwald. Reckenwald.
He got way deep in the gummy town.
He totally did. The sausage and the body and the gummy town. Too much sausage involved. In your tosh. Yeah, I was just messing with that guy about the body.
Body.
He's a nice guy.
He likes to talk about the body.
They talked about
the body is within the body.
We thought it'd be funny if every time somebody said, "Okay, today in the body," and then they just go back to their normal voice. Yeah. They say it so often. And
oh, this.
All right, so you had no, not that.
She's on intellectual.
You talked to this guy. Where was it? No, not her. We already talked to her. Oh, the pirate. Okay, so you talked to this guy who's like a pirate, and you asked him about a Bible verse, and he walked away.
It's too much for his body.
He said it was too much for his body. He said he'd get back to us, and let's see what he had to say. Over there, unless it's a good look. Can you start with the quote again? We had some microphone problems.
Okay. So I'm trying to understand what this quote. I'm trying to see how you think this quote might relate to liberty. He had my mouth like a sharp sword. In the shadow of his hand, he hid me. He made me a polished arrow. In his quiver, he hid me away. What do you think that means?
I have not a clue. I'd have to research it and read the whole pretext and following part. It's a long book.
Have you?
I'll check on it and get back.
Have you read the whole book? I like your. Are you a pirate?
Imagine being dressed as a pirate and somebody shames you to walk off. Yeah. And he said he'd get back to us. So we're going to try to find out who he is.
Yeah, I hope he can get back to us because I'm dying to know his answer.
I would love to know it too. And then you talked to this guy. And you sang some songs with this guy. He was the chair of the Hawaii.
I was testing to see if he was actually listening.
He wasn't.
He was so into himself.
He was definitely not listening.
I could tell he was so into himself that he probably wouldn't be able to tell what he's not. He doesn't care about what anyone else is doing. So that's why I had to kind of like.
This was great because I couldn't hear it because of the noise behind me. But when I watched it back, you're clearly singing about homosexuality, and he's not listening at all.
No.
Over the rainbow, fags are gay. Where homos fly upon the treetops,
high above the chimney top. That's where you'll
find homos. Hello.
I have to get back to business.
Listen at all.
No. That's why I did it, because he's an example of somebody who's so self-absorbed. He probably doesn't ever listen to anyone in his
plays
life.
He was playing that ukulele
show
everywhere
off.
he goes.
It's so silly.
And you interviewed Stalin.
Yeah, this is great. Yeah.
Straight from the Renaissance, I have time traveled to this Libertarian convention, and I found Stalin. Stalin, you time traveled too. Why did you time travel here to the Libertarian convention?
To take over the Libertarian Party.
What do you plan on doing after you take over, Stalin?
I plan on running for president of the Libertarian
And why the Libertarian Party?
because they're weak.
What's so weak about them?
They don't know who they are. They don't know what they are.
And what do you think they are?
I think they're a party divided. It feels good to have your hand up my ass.
How good does it feel?
It feels so good.
Oh, hello.
oh,
Would you like
oh.
to talk to us?
Make it more of a fist.
You like that, don't you, Stalin?
Oh.
Well, good luck taking over the Libertarian Party.
So we should say that was somebody else's table that we just went over to. And Kim
Yeah.
picked up their Stalin doll, and we were
Yeah.
standing behind it. And the previous day,
It was just sitting there, so I might be able to put it to use. Otherwise, I mean, what's the point of just leaving?
you got a Stalin doll here. Somebody's going to use it.
You gotta put it to use. I mean, that's what are dolls for if you're not gonna use them?
You got to fist them.
Yeah, I mean, it's a puppet.
And there's the bear.
The bear.
Well, I don't know if we'll show the bear, but
I mean, the bear was literally
you sexually assaulted
crotch
the bear.
level.
Yeah. Yeah,
so,
so,
you can't
yeah.
sit. You can't sit on a table at crotch level if you don't want crotch in your face.
That's true. And the bear had it couldn't do anything about it because it's a bear. But the previous day at that table, Kim, they were doing a podcast, and Kim just went and sat at the edge of it and just sat there and just looked at her. And then she sat on the other side of it. Yeah. And they got up and she left. And then the next day they're like, we want to talk to you guys. We never actually talked to them.
Yeah, they did want to talk to us.
And then, so here's you on
I was
the
using
doll.
nonverbal communication because words create division.
They do. Make it more of a fist.
You like that?
I always
don't
saw
you,
that
Stalin?
already. This is the bear.
That's what he's asking for.
Oh
Nonverbal
my God.
communication right there.
So this was Kim as a chicken.
I don't know why. This wasn't even at the convention.
This was outside the convention. We were going to get Claritin. And I have to say, we made the person's day.
Hello. We did. That lady took a picture. She was so happy. That was the most exciting thing that happened to her that day.
We went in there and we were worried that we would be thrown out.
I wasn't worried about it.
I
It's
was.
CVS. We don't
You
live
were
there.
a white woman.
We don't live there. Who cares if we're thrown out? It's CVS.
Yeah, no, but
There's
like,
other CVS
you
you can
understand,
go
this
to.
is white woman privilege you
What?
experience.
I'm not worried about getting thrown out of CVS. Were you really worried?
I wasn't worried. Everywhere we went, I was worried the police were going to get called on us at some point.
Are you afraid of the police?
I'm not afraid of the police.
I'm
I've
not
had the
afraid of
police
the
called on me plenty of times. But you understand, I'm a white man. You're a white woman.
scared.
You have
I
pretty
would've
white woman
protected you.
privilege.
I would've
You
protect-
probably would have. We went in there, and she had the chicken head on, and we were getting Claritin. And I was, I didn't know what to expect. She's clucking and she's talking, and I was acting like she was my chicken.
So the whole relevance of this is to exercise freedom. Okay, the whole convention is about liberty and freedom, so that's why I was doing
That's
this.
right.
I was
There's a
exercising my
reason for it.
freedom.
It was
to
more
be a
logical
chicken.
than anything that went on at the convention.
It wasn't about being logical. It was about being free. Sometimes freedom isn't
Well,
logical.
so the
But
chicken
it
was trying to get
logical-
Claritin.
Well, but also the logical thing is like we just simply wanted to brighten that girl's day, and we did.
And we absolutely did.
She just laughed. That was the only time she probably laughed
We-
in the last 6 hours.
We went back and I got the Claritin, and you're clucking around like a chicken. and I'm legitimately trying to see if it's the right kind. I'm trying to hold it where you can see it. And you're like,
I couldn't see anything.
and you said you
yeah.
could. Eventually, you said you could see it, and then we went up to this girl at the front, and I didn't pull that because you can only see the table. But she's just laughing her ass off, and she says, "I gotta get a picture. I gotta get a picture, y'all." And I was like, "We're gonna take her to the Chick-fil-A cow." She's like, "No, y'all don't take her to Chick-fil-A cow." And I said, she's going to scramble all them eggs. And she's like, no, don't scramble them eggs.
Yeah.
And then she said it made her day.
Yeah, it did. So I was happy. I made somebody laugh.
Yeah. That's why we did that.
It's fun to be a chicken. I felt one with the chicken.
It's fun to be a chicken.
I felt free to be a chicken.
I was a chicken farmer for a
Exercising
little
free-
while.
That was a moment of freedom. I felt free.
Yeah, it was, and then I don't know if you guys saw this part where she talked to the crotch of the statue.
Oh, I am here at the crotch of William Alden Smith.
We talked. There's her.
You look like a retard, and you just
Libertarian.
I think I'm gonna create a spin-off episode where it's just for the chicken.
I like the chicken
I'm gonna create
idea.
a whole comment if you want me to, if you would watch me perform
chicken was great.
chicken adventures.
Look, it's thank you. We're a trip. We are a trip, and we're the best part of that convention. It's not just me saying that. That's multiple people saying that. But what we also did is, I know a lot of you guys like Joe Kent. I didn't pull these clips, but Joe Kent, as he spoke at the anti-war thing that was in the same building, we didn't realize that. And he's the guy who defected from the Trump administration recently, and has been going on. He was on Tucker Carlson. He hasn't been on Candace Owens' show, but apparently the belief is that he was leaking things to Candace Owens. And he walked into a restaurant sitting next to us, and that really upset me. Now, not because I don't agree with some of the things he says, but just because I disagree with the grift of it. And he seems to be very much part of that. And so what we did was, you filmed me going on a rant about like Candace and Erica scissoring and propaganda and Edward Bernays and Tucker Carlson's father being part of CIA and Tucker and all that. And you were zooming in on Joe Kent at that time.
Yeah, he didn't really know. I don't think he knew, but towards the end, he might have been a little.
Well, he did, because you got up.
Well, later he knew. Yeah.
You got up and you put the chicken head on, and you were dancing by right next to their table while I was screaming at you how you didn't understand the propaganda. I was screaming at the chicken. You didn't get the propaganda. And so they were definitely looking at us at that time, and we thought that the restaurant we thought the gay owner or the manager of the restaurant hated us. But we realized at that point that they loved us.
Yeah. Yeah. Who wouldn't love that? People crave things that break up the monotony of their mundane lives. People crave that stuff.
We did that, for sure.
Yeah. Like that's
There's never been a chicken dance and a rant about propaganda at the chicken. It's ever happened before in that restaurant.
No, it was very original, and that's freedom.
And I guarantee you.
Freedom is.
Yeah, that's freedom, and Joe Kent experienced that. He'll never forget it.
He'll never forget
ever
that
in his life.
because it was so strange.
Chickens do the funky dance.
That's how you get people to listen to you.
We want to do a show, and I think it's a great idea. Kim's still up in the air on it. Where we go around and we do crazy shit, but it becomes an argument, and the attention getting thing is like the chicken head, but then the argument is really logical things about propaganda or things that people don't ever think about now that they're paying attention. But it's in public. It's not like on virtual. It's like we go to actual places.
Yeah. Yeah. So the idea is like, I would do something outrageous, like a chicken head, to get people's attention. And then you would actually share something that's intellectual and thought provoking. People would listen because I would get their attention. And it would be funny too to see how people respond, like in a public, like we would do this in a public setting.
It would be funnier than anything on television.
Yeah,
and I could also do the crazy thing, and you could say that.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's not like Punk'd. I mean, people love the show like Punk'd or like Candid Camera. You know, it's not like it's more than just a practical joke, because we would be actually sharing thought-provoking.
Yeah. The purpose is the thought-provoking stuff.
But it would be funny too at the same time, because we're getting their attention in a way. Because sometimes you have to squawk like a chicken to get someone's attention.
Right.
So
that's politics.
Yeah.
So if politics is going to devolve to doing these stunts to squawk like a chicken, we use that. But once we got them, here's some actual useful information.
That's right. Comment below if you would watch.
Yeah,
that
if you
show.
would watch that show, and
if you would fund
tell
it.
us if we started a Give Send Go, and we didn't say the hard R, because I know that's how most of Give Send Go start. and you would fund and watch that. We would do that. We would go to places and we would do stunts where we got people's attention and then we delivered useful information.
And we would take your suggestions into consideration.
Absolutely.
Like if you wanted me to dress up as like a certain character to get attention, we would take you as.
We're not even kidding.
This is serious.
We're not kidding right now. So send me a DM on X or whatever. Leave a comment on the video. We will do this. And we have a cinematographer. We have people who will do it with us. And this will be the best thing on television. Tell me what is on TV right now that's better than this. There's nothing. There's nothing.
Everything on TV is crap.
It's all shit.
Yeah.
And to leave us out on, we have to look at this weirdo. I'm sorry.
Oh.
We can't not talk
Yeah.
about this guy.
Yeah, it would be a shame to not talk about
So
him.
to tease him. So there's this guy playing the music we teased earlier.
I don't usually get creeped out by people.
You
It
were
takes a
noticeably
lot.
creeped out.
It takes a lot to creep me out. It really does.
You were so noticeably creeped
But
out.
I'm. It's interesting that you could tell.
I could tell. Yeah, definitely.
Something about his like I just
What? Something about
something
what?
about his aura. Like he's got,
what? This guy's aura?
Yeah.
Well,
I've been waiting for someone to rock my world.
hey, you told him that.
Probably shouldn't have said that. Yeah. Probably wasn't the best joke.
AidesOfFreedom.com.
I loved when you took the mic from that guy. It was funny as shit.
If you need a hand.
But let me tell you about my book.
So yeah, he was blaring music.
This will absolutely rock your
Look at his hair. Like blend the hair dye a little there.
world.
I've been waiting for someone to rock my world.
I combine
Yeah, he said hair dye.
genetics, theology,
He would love to
consciousness,
see
and
that. I would
quantum
love to see that.
mechanics into a single theory of everything. I reverse engineered the cosmos.
He reverse engineered the cosmos.
Him, one man, solely by himself, reverse engineer. That's a grand statement. That's a lot for one man.
He's got a tip jar too.
Look at my face.
That's hilarious.
That's like a funny screenshot.
And I explain it in 60 pages. I have equivalent of a doctorate of science, a master of engineering. I have
So I didn't notice he said the equivalent.
The equivalent.
have a
The
bachelor
equivalent.
of science from UC Berkeley. I'm the guy who got the F-16 airborne, that kind of thing. And
God, you're so uncomfortable. Look at you. Because you're usually smiling at people.
It's like there's
Tomahawk
something
as
off.
a lawyer,
Something off.
undefeated in federal litigation.
I'm also undefeated in federal litigation. Because I've never done federal litigation.
Yeah, so am I. I am too.
As a patent prosecutor, I was the #1 patent prosecutor in the country for 15 years.
But what about the airplanes? You did what with them?
I got them airborne. I fixed problems to
got
allow them to
airplanes
go
airborne.
airborne. Now, what is
So, yeah,
happening,
well,
and I explain it in
Like,
60
sounded
pages.
like a complete
I have
fabrication. I
equivalent
got
of a
them
doctorate of
airborne. I
science,
got
a
the
master of
airplanes airborne.
engineering.
What?
I have a bachelor of science from UC Berkeley. I'm the guy who got the F-16 airborne.
He's the guy. As though people are like, as though people have this common knowledge. Like, remember those F-16s got airborne? And they're just like, oh, he's the guy.
He's the guy who did it.
Holy shit.
We've been looking for that guy. Nobody knows who he is.
Well, the F-16s?
That's the guy.
You're
Like my entire life, I've been wondering who is this guy in history I heard about that got the F-16s airborne.
That's the guy.
That's him.
Born that kind of thing, and the Tomahawks. As a lawyer,
And the Tomahawks. what are the Tomahawks?
I don't know. He's just saying words. Like he's literally saying words that make no sense.
He says things quickly, and he piles on, hoping people won't question. I don't know how many people would believe this guy, but
He might be on acid right now.
I don't know. His hair is so black. Look at him. Watch how frustrated he gets with us too.
Oh yeah.
To progress.
have equivalent of a doctorate of science.
Guy's a creepy.
Science, a
looking guy.
master of engineering. I have a bachelor of science from UC Berkeley. I'm the guy who got the F-16 airborne, that kind of
You're
thing,
so
and the
uncomfortable.
Tomahawks. As a lawyer, undefeated in federal litigation. As a patent prosecutor, I was the #1 patent prosecutor in the country for 15 years.
It's their
The
rankings.
number one
Number one.
patent prosecutor for 15 years. How do we?
How do we verify this information? Can you
That
tell
was
us
the
where the
number-
rankings website is?
That was number one.
Imagine we were patent prosecutors when we heard that. He's just hoping he doesn't run into one of those.
Yeah. How hard is it to be a patent prosecutor?
And it's their ranking system.
The ranking of all the patent prosecutors.
That's
Who ranks them?
and yeah. It just makes that up.
Yeah.
I almost admire the ability to do that. Maybe he believes it actually.
He could. Yeah, he could be believing.
What about the airplane?
Look at his face right there. Look how he's jarred.
Yeah.
To go airborne. Now, and I explained theology in litigation as
Watch his face
as a
here.
patent prosecutor. I was the #1 patent prosecutor in the country for 15 years.
But what about the airplanes? You did what with them?
I got them airborne. I fixed problems to allow them to go airborne.
You fix the
I
problems.
fix problems. Yeah, I'm that guy. I'm
I
the
mean,
problem
it's
fixer.
a vague.
I'm the problem fixer. I fix those airborne.
You tell me the problem, I fix it. They get airborne.
First,
And the missiles.
First, there were planes, and then
There were problems.
there were problems, and then I fixed the problems, and they flew.
And
That's
then I went and prosecuted a patent case.
Now, what is happening currently, and I'm polling 97%.
97%.
What politician polls 97% across all political parties? No one.
Kim Jong-un?
And here's close. I like that. This guy's fun. I promise to do 4 things for you. I'm going to eliminate the income tax.
Yeah, so
four things.
Four
He's
things.
like counting as 1, 2.
I know.
3.
Look at how disgusted you look.
I'm like, there's just something wrong. There's clearly something wrong with him.
National debt, the Federal Reserve, and federal socialism. I'm going to restore liberty and freedom. Think about this. The colonists revolted on a 3% tax on tea.
The cooks? The cooks revolted?
Like,
the colonists?
We're now at 37% income tax. That the Confederates held 5 million slaves. They took 100% of their income. It was 5 million man-years each year.
What is a man
What's a man year?
A person's working time for.
Look at his face. He's not
He's
used to
like,
being interrupted like that.
No.
Yeah. I thought he said man year.
He did. He said man years.
Yeah, that's like
What is a man
a well
year?
or something.
Yeah.
Year, like
Well, why not just say year?
Yeah.
Instead of man,
Man
year.
year.
Like, that's really weird.
Joe Jorgensen would not like this.
Like, as opposed to a woman year?
Yeah, which you
Held
brought
5
up.
million slaves. They took 100% of their income. It was 5 million man-years each year.
What's a man year?
A person's working time for 1
Oh.
year.
What about a woman year?
And so
You
modernly,
just
we
ignored it.
have 54 million man-years of slavery. Do you remember the movie, The Time Machine?
Neither one of us have seen that movie.
Where the white blonde race, when they heard the sirens, would walk
at
towards
you
the
gripping that
Warlock
thing.
caves to be devoured. This,
What is this movie called?
The Time Machine. I think it was in 1960.
I've seen it.
And so what it is that the American people are sick and tired of these Democrats and Republicans limiting their freedom with
Chicken year.
tax tyranny and debt enslavement. And with 50% now independent, 25 Democrat, 25% Republican, they're looking for Waldo. They're looking for a third party to
Who's
go
Waldo?
into these.
Are you Waldo?
I am definitely Waldo.
Oh, we found Waldo. He's been here the whole time.
Let me, UC Berkeley Engineering. I
So he's reading off of this paper for his
Yeah.
background.
took me 2.5 years.
Oh, wow.
Is that fast?
It usually is done in 6. Graduate school at SC. I went to WSU Law School, and again, litigation attorney.
Is that whatever state? What state?
Western
Oh,
State
Western State.
University. It was a private college in Orange County, California.
We have a Bible with a cock ring in it. if anybody's paying attention to details.
Now, I also have 10 years of monetary
Look at him just reading that
self-education,
shit.
20
Yeah,
years
it's
of
like
military
he can't remember
Yeah.
it. He wrote it himself, but he can't remember.
education.
What does monetary self-education mean?
That means I spent 20 years learning about fiat currencies, real money, to be able to understand how currencies work.
Real
Now, when you say self-education, though, where do you go to school for that?
Well, just like I did in the 7th grade. They
Obviously.
Just like I did in the 7th grade.
Don't you remember?
What is he like? What?
me
Clearly,
out
that
of-
was a joke. Like anybody with like half a brain would know. Oh, where do you go to school for that? Like, it's
Just like I did in the 7th
obviously a
grade.
joke, but he like took it seriously.
He took it personally when we questioned his knowledge.
very defensive, which is a sign he's hiding lots
Not
of,
a good leader.
lots of things.
Not a good presidential
Defensiveness
leader.
math
is
class,
always-
and they said, Derek,
It's always a telltale. He pulled that thing out from his face.
Now, when
too.
you say self-education, though, where do you go to school for that?
well, just like I did in the 7th grade. They pulled me out of math class, and they said,
Oh,
Derek,
fuck,
you're
sorry.
wasting your time. So I self-taught
But they pulled him out of math.
myself algebra.
They pulled him
He's
out of
self-taught. Who's they? The Jews pulled him out of 7th grade. He had to self-teach himself algebra.
I don't want to know who they are. Like
He's
there's-
got that hair.
He's got
Look
some,
at that. He's
yeah.
got- I feel like that's a wig.
In other words, I have a fantastic ability and a curiosity to learn by myself.
Your expression this whole time is hilarious. You're so uncomfortable.
So when you
But you're in it though.
learn by
An
yourself,
autodidact, is that what it's called?
yeah.
Oh, look at his eyes.
There's something wrong. Like there's clearly some screws loose. He's like more than a few fries short of a Happy Meal.
And he doesn't know what he just he listen to this here.
Autodidact.
I think I might say it wrong, but that's where you
He didn't
learn
even know what
teach
that
Well,
was.
I'm not an English professor, so
An
you got
I'm
me
not
on
an
that.
English
Benjamin
professor.
Franklin.
The
I'm
idea,
not
of
an-
all the list of things, I
Yeah,
didn't.
clearly you're an English
didn't say it.
professor.
I'm an English professor.
Only English professors
what
know what an
autodidact is.
autodidact is.
is
I'm not
that
an English
I've always
professor
been a
either, but I knew.
This guy was nuts.
curious child. Like I did in the 7th grade. They pulled me out of math
Professor.
class, and they said, Derek,
guy's
you're
like
wasting your
70
time.
too.
So I self-taught myself algebra. In other words, I have a fantastic ability and a curiosity to learn by myself.
By myself.
So when you learn by
An
yourself,
autodidact, is that what it's called?
yeah,
God, look at those eyes, dude.
autodidact.
I think I might say it wrong, but that's where you learn to teach yourself.
Well, I'm not an English professor, so you got me on that
No,
one.
Benjamin Franklin.
The idea is that I've always been a curious child, and I go and I research things and I listen to lectures. I'm plugged in 16 hours a day, 7 days a week, and I've been doing that for 50 years. Anyways,
50 years? He's been plugged in?
So he must be like 70 something, yeah.
Yeah, but what was he plugged into 50 years ago? There's no podcast.
Yeah, plugged into what? Maybe like I don't know. Maybe he went through some crazy like MK Ultra brainwashing.
He's the one that didn't work.
I am an engineer, a lawyer, assistant.
So he goes back to reading his thing. After we subvert him, he pulls his thing back.
It's like he has
Anyways,
to remember who
I
he
am an
is.
engineer, a lawyer, a systems
why.
analyst, a monetarist, a
He
politician.
doesn't even know what,
What
that
is a
He
monetarist?
was like, I'm a monitor. Like, he doesn't even know what that is.
This is-
He's saying he's something he doesn't even know the term. Like, the way he read that, he was like, I'm a monetarist, as if like, wait, what is that? Oh, yeah, I'm that. That's
God,
me.
we should have tried to be his writers. We could have got him to say anything.
I don't, yeah. He would have just,
Just whatever words we make up,
He would
he
have just
just
like read
reads it.
everything. Yeah.
a military scientist, a patent
He's a military
litigator, a
scientist.
patent prosecutor,
So many.
a social economist, an author, a
author.
geopolitical analyst,
He's
a
just
combat
reading
commander,
it.
a
You're right.
technologist,
I'm a
a social
political
conservative.
Look at your face.
I was looking at his book. I was like, what is this?
60
book that he
pages for
wrote?
everything, yeah.
Like,
Mono-
the theory of every, like, he thinks he's figured out the whole theory
How do you
of
skip
everything.
by that? You just say I solved it all. And
I've
then-
solved the whole
But
mystery of the universe.
Now here's my resume.
Self-taught. I'm a monetarian and a political analyst, and I'm basically like every job in the world. That's me, except an English professor.
It's the only thing I've never heard autodidact.
Other than that, I
You
can
got
do
me.
I can do everything. I can make planes
Yeah.
fly. I can fix every problem. But
He's very defensive when he doesn't know.
clearly he's got.
This is interesting though. Like, if he's given this spiel, you would think he wouldn't have to hold that thing in front of his face with the American flag on it and whatever that other stuff is on it.
Yeah.
And to read it, it's just weird. And people gave him money, I guess.
Or he just put it there
might
himself.
put it there.
Monotheist, a philosopher, a commentator, a libertarian, and a candidate for the
philosopher.
2026
Doesn't even know he's a candidate
47th
for.
Congressional District. My primary is in a few days on June 2nd. And I will be here running for the nomination. And the idea is that I'm polling 97%.
Because I was going to ask
Where did he
you
come
about
from?
this verse and
That's
how it
the
relates
great-
to liberty.
Yeah, well,
Oh,
I'm
yeah,
not
the
a
verse.
theologian, so you might have
He's also not a theologian.
me here.
This is just your opinion. I'm just
Not a
going to.
theologian?
So it says, He made my mouth like a sharp sword. In the shadow of his hand, He hid me. He made me a polished arrow. In His
It's a
quiver,
real
he hid
verse
me
in the
away.
Bible.
It's totally a real
It's a
verse.
real verse.
Yeah.
That relates to.
Well, I just look at it from a personal interpretation is that God blesses certain individuals to be able to communicate and promulgate the word
Promulgate.
and
Promulgate.
come to know the love of Jesus.
Love
So
of
that's
Jesus.
right. That was a direct reaction to what you said. to
How,
him, was
yeah,
that.
like
He's
how
promulgate.
did like that's actually words from the Bible, word for word. But I don't know how that how he arrived
No.
at that interpretation.
They were all afraid of that verse in the Bible. That's
Yeah.
the same one you read to the pirate.
Yeah.
At least he answered it and
Yeah.
made something else up.
He that means Jesus is here.
I mean, this sounded like kind of erotica a little bit.
I know, that's
It's like
why
a
I read
Stacey
it.
Abrams novel.
Yeah.
So you love Jesus?
Absolutely.
Do you love it? Like, how much do you love
start
Jesus?
speech-
Well, I
Speaking
talk with
Russian
him
for a
every
second.
day. Oh, we have a rolling conversation. I believe that God has commissioned me to save the country from ruin, and we are at a critical point now. Now, my mother,
God commissioned
the guy.
him. So he thinks he's like another Jesus. He thinks
Uh,
he's the second coming.
A patent lawyer,
God commissioned him.
this guy.
What? God commissioned him.
And he gave him everything he needed except an English literature major,
Yeah, or a theologian.
theologian
You would
major.
think
Didn't
if
give
you would
him
think if God commissioned him, that He would bless him with the ability of being a theologian sent by God.
Right.
she used to tell me stories about how she used to go out into the fields and collect dandelions to boil to have something to eat. We're talking about the Great Depression.
are those lions?
Pardon?
The lion. I mean, lions must be like scary.
dandelions.
Dandelions, yes, because
Are those lions like? Why are they called dandelions?
I have no idea.
Do you believe in the multiverse theory?
No, absolutely not. It's pure garbage, and it comes from narcissistic physicists who are at the
Narcissistic
top of the
physicists.
intellectual game, sitting on their pedestal,
He's
and the
pissed
last thing
about
they
us.
want is some god throwing them off. So all of these physicists,
god throwing 'em off.
most of them, are basically going from a narcissistic perspective that they are
Narcissistic,
gods.
not
They know more than
narcissistic,
anybody else,
narcissistic.
and they don't want anybody or any entity taking them off their throne. And so it's very difficult for them to be humble
It's
to
really
realize
angered him.
that they have very minute minds.
Minute minds.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, he is an individual. Well, I have sympathy for them because
It's sympathy.
now I'm
they
I'm a
have the
narcissist.
Go to
hell, like that bullshit he does.
Yeah. I'm a narcissistic person from the standpoint that I realize that I've learned a lot, that I have something to offer.
He's smarter than everybody.
I'm kind of proud of that, and I'll toot my own horn.
A little close to
But
Mike
I know
is
my
to his
place in
face.
this universe, and it's below the Almighty.
It's below the. So what should we do to all the narcissists?
Round them up.
Should we all like round them up some?
Well, no, as president, I will bring 40
president.
million lost souls to know the love of Jesus.
All right.
So now,
Amen.
Then he's running for
I'm a
president.
expert on
he's
the
running
Ukraine
for
war.
president.
In October of 23, I alone globally predicted that Ukraine would win. And
Literally
they have
everybody on
just
CNN said
recently turned the tide and have gone
No,
over
him
to the
alone.
offensive. To
Only him.
The rest of the world's going to
Russia?
He was the original CNN and didn't chime in
Меня
until
зовут
after
Eric
he
Mike.
started
from
it.
Я
him.
Americanец. I've been to Russia many times, Ukraine many times, and I went over there to study the culture. The Iron Curtain came down, and I had to go over and check it out. You know, so I did,
He's
and I
so
gave
full of
lectures
shit,
at
it's crazy.
Russian universities on intellectual property, and in Ukraine, I gave lectures on military science. And
But
so
he's got a table here.
I went over there
Did he
basically to
actually
learn the
give those
culture, and now as
lectures?
it turns out,
No
it
chance he
is
gave
helping
those
me a lot understanding the
Maybe.
the
What's his
Russian
life really
barbaric.
like?
We should
materialistic
hire him to
culture
give a lecture. We
and-
should set
and the
something up to where we get him to
Ukrainians'
give a lecture.
Desire for liberty and freedom in their lives.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you so much for chatting
told
with
him
us.
to speak English.
Originally
Yeah, and
from
I told him
Russia,
you're
yes.
Russian, man.
Recent desire for liberty and freedom in their lives.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you so much for chatting with
You're
us.
from Russia, aren't you?
Originally from Russia, yes.
Where at? What city?
He starts
I
speaking
forgot. I
Russian.
mean, I was born there, but I didn't really spend any time
I
there.
think he's macking on you. Look at his posture.
Oh,
Her
icky.
parent.
My
She had a
parent-
relationship with her parents.
Yeah, I was adopted.
Yeah,
Look at him. Look how big
What does
he
that
is.
mean?
Ew.
Alubluvi.
Ya lu blu bli?
Yes.
Ya lu bu bi.
Yeah, Lubluvi.
Ya lu bu bi.
Blue.
Ya lu bu bi.
Moje по-русски очень плохо. Я знаю 200 слова. My
Ooh,
Russian's
he
very
said.
bad. I know about 200 words.
Mayo polosia solata. You know what that means?
No, I don't.
Neither do I. All right.
We'll
Well,
have
thanks
Google
for chatting
translate
with
it. Thank
us.
you very-
What was? All right. That we have a lot more quotes. Can't play all of them all night, but yeah, we should wrap it up. Kim, thank you for talking to people with me and messing around. It was fun, very funny. You did a great job.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
I hope that you got a takeaway from that convention, and I know I always do. I try to take something new away from it, and that guy was probably going to be
What did you take away from it?
that there are adults in the room, and that there are people who are, no matter you try to treat them as being serious. I don't, but they try to treat each other as being serious. They're never going to be serious. So the people doing all the stunts on the left and right are never going to be serious. The people who are trying to be serious are the ones who, if you care about it, then those are the ones who should be elected to positions of power. My friends that you met, Jake and all them and all those guys I'd support 100% because I would trust them to not do all the bullshit. All the others are just, to me, self-serving, whether it's the left or the right. And I think I saw that the first time I went a couple of years ago, but this time it was just apparent that it's just nobody's serious who are going up there and screaming on the microphones. It's the ones who are like on the ground actually trying to positively affect people's lives. That was my takeaway. What is yours?
I don't know what I took away. I don't think I took anything away.
We gave.
I left it all there.
You left it all there. We did
I
give.
didn't take anything away. I didn't have any new ideas that I didn't hear any new ideas that I hadn't already heard before.
Right.
I didn't hear someone say something that I hadn't already heard before. So I don't know. I didn't take anything away. Is that bad?
No, it's not bad. I think that's a lesson.
Yeah.
Not for you, for them. My whole thing about the Libertarian Party has been that you guys need to wake the fuck up and recognize that you suck. Not in principles when it comes to some of the party, but in the idea that the focus of attention on the fucking Robert's Rules of Order and all the other bullshit it's weakening you. And I know it's party rules, but god damn it, rely on the people who are good at it. Stop focusing on the people who are bullshit artists. And I don't know how to, when you have a party so vulnerable to co-option, I really don't know how to unify it because it's built-in division, complete division. So I honestly don't know how to do that. But
With possums.
with
That's how
possums.
you do it.
Well, you sat at the possum table and you took over the possum table.
With possums.
And some old man thought you were the possum lady, and then the lady came over and was like, "Why are you at my possum table?" And the old man walked off. He realized you were lying to him the whole time. Which is very fun. So the reason we can go do this shit at a convention like this is because of the openness and vulnerability to it. But I would say this. I would say follow Liberty Libations, follow the Georgia Libertarian Party. For the most part, is great. And they're serious, and there's some others that are serious. But for me, I like to go to these things just to see how fucked up politics are, because we could go to the Republican and the Democrat convention. It would be a little more polished, but behind closed doors, it's going to be just as fucked up.
Yeah. Yeah, they're just better at hiding it, probably.
Yeah.
A little better at hiding it. Not that good.
Everybody's you guys are wonderful. What's within you is great.
Thank you, Spirit of the Age. You're super cool, Kim. Make more appearances on Brad's show, please.
Kim is a fan favorite. There's no doubt about that.
Spirit of the Age, where are you from?
Yeah, where are you from? Are you nearby?
I know you asked us what freedom means to us. What does freedom mean to you?
We'll wait for your answers.
If anybody else wants to chime in, I'm curious, what does freedom mean to you?
Freedom is a tough concept. It's
talking.
I didn't play your Desperado clip.
Alabama. I was pretending like I was from Alabama at the convention.
Mobile,
Like,
Alabama.
I'm from Alabama. I've been to Alabama. I shot a movie there once. It's a nice place. Lots of fun things to do. I like the simple life there.
The best clip, which I didn't play, was you talking about your freedom to masturbate. And then this guy creeps in at the end of the clip in the back of it. He's like, "Hey, where was your delegation?"
Yeah.
This autistic guy.
Yeah. He was asking where my costume was.
Costume first,
Yeah.
and he thought the costume was associated with the delegation, which is pretty common. After that, although there were other people that were dressed like this, but that is not as good looking. Freedom. Maybe we leave it on this. On what is freedom for you individually? Leave it in the comments in the future. Bring it to future shows, because I think freedom, as we discussed earlier, is something that people can complain about when they feel like they don't have it. But when they maybe are given a little bit of freedom, maybe that is too much responsibility, because freedom can't come without responsibility.
Right. That's the hard part. And what kind of responsibility do we have? How do we navigate that if we're free? So yeah, comment below if you're watching this after it's live. Let us know how you define freedom and what does that mean in terms of responsibility, self-responsibility, social responsibility. Be interesting.
And we'll do it.
Let's talk about it.
Finish up the clips sometime in the future show. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for watching later.
Thanks for watching.
And we'll talk to y'all next time. Y'all have a fantastic rest of your day. By the way, I should mention at the top, my Patreon got hacked, and so if you got unsubscribed to it, that's why I am talking to them right now to try and get it back. So I will give you guys an update in the future, later this next week actually, on what the outcome is of that. So that's why that happened if you got unsubscribed.
Yes.
Propagandafight.com. Go ahead.
And if you like talking about the philosophy of freedom, another philosophy, you can follow me. I'm going to do more philosophy podcasts. So
Fantastic. All right. Talk to you guys next time. Later.